What is going on, everybody? With another night, another stream with a new setup. I'm working on bugs out, so guys, be patient with me. I'm still trying to figure these out. So do me a favor, everybody. If you can hear me nice and clear, hit the
What
one
is
button.
going
on, everybody? With another night, another stream with a new setup. No, there's the first problem. Fixed that already. Easy fix. Whew. Hopefully we don't have any bugs. So I am testing some new programs out. So my face is very up close and personal. So deal with it. That's the best I got for you now. So I'm still trying to work things out. So bear with me. This is supposed to be a better setup than I had before. So it's a work in progress, like I said. So just bear with me. So my words are backwards. Okay. Okay, that's one problem we can fix later, I believe. So I gotta figure out why my words are backwards. What words are backwards? That's the question I have. So I know Stacy hit me on the side. So Stacy, do me a favor, hit me up again and let me know what do you mean by your words are backwards. I don't know what you mean by that. I need more specifics, details, so I can fix the problem. So besides that, I want to know what you guys think about my intro. Okay, I'll fix that later. So texting. I know everybody has been texting for a hot minute here. So texting, I have a history behind it, believe it or not. Everything does. So the texting is something that everybody has done at some point, some time. So the question is, what is your experience with texting? Mine is pretty extended, believe it or not. I remember going back, back, when texting was with a keypad, not a mouse, like literally how can I explain it? You know how you have the old school phones? It has 1, 2, 3, then it has 3 letters, and then it has 2, 3 letters, and so on. I said that backwards, but you guys know what I'm trying to say. And that was texting when I started. And that is a long time ago. So long that I don't barely remember that shit. So before we go too far into it, guys, do me a favor. You're coming in now, coming in later, coming in the future, coming in a couple years later. Hit the like, share, and subscribe. Helps me out, and it's free. Remember that. Really trying to get used to the setup. I'm so used to my old camera setup. Damn. So, guys, be patient. Please be patient. I'm trying to figure this out still. But as I'm trying to figure things out, there's texting. I was MSN. Then iMessage came out. Now RCA. So that's a big difference, a big jump. So the jumps have changed over the years. I remember sometime when I sent a message, it depends on the provider I was sending to or the provider I receiving. It still happens once in a while, but rarely. I might get one message, then I get it like the same message 3, 4 times. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? Why am I getting the same message 4, 5, 6 times? That's odd in a way. So I was like curious, why is that happening? Even as they. So, guys, do me a favor. Throw me some chats in there. I want to see if my chat thing is working, because I did put some time in here. So, I want to see all the features are working. So, I know Stacey's in the background. So, give me some kind of hi, yo, fuck you, something. So I know the chats are working. I want on Facebook and YouTube. So I want to see both sides are working. I'd be appreciate it. Anyway, I know you're not doing anything, just standing around doing nothing. But anyway, so with everything going on, texting is something that we depend on. I don't care if you're doing your personal life. Oh, excuse me. Your personal life, or if you're doing it for work. Believe it or not, iPhones are everywhere now. if you're an Android user, you know, like I feel bad for you because you don't have the iMessage thing, and I kind of don't feel bad for you also at the same time because you have the better device. That's the argument to go back and forth. So that's the other thing. You know what I'm saying? All right, I see one message. Let me see. Didn't receive it on this side for some reason. That's odd. That's very odd. Gotta figure out how to fix that on the fly really fast. All right, we gotta fix how we can get our messages displayed here really fast, guys. So bear with me for a minute. Chat. There we go. Hey yo, that's the best you got, girl. All right, I'll take it. I'll take it. Do me a favor, say throw a message on Facebook too, please. That'd be appreciated. Because seriously, I'm getting this weird text message from everybody now. So I was saying it's just a combination of stuff now. So text messages. You know, let me get my stuff out here. It'd be nice if I had all my stuff going here because I am half prepared tonight. Because this new setup kind of threw me off, guys. Big time. But it's okay. We're going to go through these pains together. Let's see what we got here. Let's see, can this come up? What is everybody? That's what I want to know. Where is everybody tonight? Because I was slacking. That's what it is. So waiting for you guys to show up. Support. Come on. Where are you guys? So dropping the link anywhere else. Aha. Okay. The original. Original text message was sent through a short wire message. And that's the truth. In 1980, believe it or not, it was a global system, mobile communication, also known as GSM. It was standard way. It was something normal that we all did at one time. And that's where the MSM, text message for short, started. Sending messages was so important back then, it was not funny. The real first MSM sent out during the December 3rd, actually, 1992 was a test with Neil Papworth, age 22, a software programmer. Guys, Java is literally one of the biggest language you need to learn as a software engineer. And you just can't live without it. It is what it is. And so it's just one of those things like you have to do it that way or you're completely screwed. And unfortunately, it is what it is. So if any of my guests are in the back, because I don't see anybody yet, please let me know. You're in the back. Okay, so I gotta find, where are you then? Did I send you the wrong link? I want to know. I'm going to resend you guys the link because I don't see you guys. So that is very odd. Give me a second, Paul. I'm going to send it to you again. And let's see if this works. All right, Paul, try this one because I don't know what is going on with that link. Let's see if that worked. Let's give him a second. That is odd. This is what happens when I try to upgrade stuff. Alright, David is having the same issue. So I'm going to send him too. another one. So anybody's having a problem with that link for some reason. So, yep. I just resend it to both of them. See if we get you guys in here. If you still have any issues, please let me know in the chats because I gotta figure out why are you guys not coming in. And that does not make me too happy right now because I put a lot of hours and time put in this new setup. Let me see. All right, we got one person in. There you are.
What's going on?
Nothing. I'm still trying to figure this new upgrade I did. I did a major upgrade.
I can see you.
I'm still using the OBS. Don't worry. I didn't kick the OBS away.
I know.
I'm using a bridge. So everybody who are new to this, I'm using what's called a bridge code, and it's a pain in the ass to figure out NDI. So
I
that
know that
bridge,
bridge.
oh, that's a pain in the fucking dick.
Trust me, I know that bridge. I told you before I had to use a bunch of plugin NDI with one of them. So it took me a while to get used to OBS using the NDI. Then when I noted there was something better than that, I thought to use what they call Streamlabs.
Yep.
Streamlabs is also OBS, but more control.
So David, hang on one second. I gotta give his intro in. You guys can't hear the music, right?
It's very faint. It's kind of faint.
All right, I can fix that later. At least everything's working. That's what I'm happy with. The new setup's working, so I'm happy with that. So at least we're moving in the right direction. So seriously, how you guys think of the new?
No, it's good. No, it's much clearer.
Good.
Yeah. No, it's definitely an improvement.
Welcome
So
to
do you guys think it's better than what I had the OBS Ninja before?
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, you got. I figured as much. You guys are gonna like that. I'm
welcome
still
to
trying to figure.
welcome
Go
to
ahead, David.
Restream.
Yeah, it's a pain in the ass. I'm not gonna deny that. I'm still trying to figure out the bridges and all the plugins, and it took me a while. It took me about 2 whole days to actually get everything set up the way I like it.
Wow.
I just have to figure out the camera issue I'm having now because it's like zooming
It
up,
it
up
it took
close
me
and
two
personal.
weeks to figure out what the best plugin to use with Restream. Trust me when I say with OBS alone, using with Restream is way better than StreamYard, hands
I
down,
can
in a
send you
lot of ways.
the document I found because I did a lot of I did like a week research to see what's the good setup because there's so many different routes you could take. I can send you the information I have, but you still have to use OBS no matter what.
Hmm.
So you gotta talk to BMU see if you can convince them to come up with the OBS side. Good luck with that one. So let's get into the show. What do you guys think?
Of
Tonight's show. What do you think of?
Since we are texting Operation Hangout.
Yeah, the history of texting.
I thought this was
So
supposed to be now we're going into deep tech here, man. You guys
go
are
ahead.
way ahead of me on that regard because I honestly I didn't get into texting until I got my first smartphone. So
Ooh,
I never had a beeper. I never owned one.
I never did either. Thank God.
And even when it came to text messaging, you're talking um, definitely like late 98, 99, maybe.
Mm.
When I kind of got into it, I had a Nextel phone, the one with the bleep thing going on.
Please don't remind me about our phone, please. Not the
But
bleep. I'm
I'm,
sorry. I'm sorry because in New York City, that was a nightmare.
That's
yeah,
Every
Nextel on a subway full of people with all Nextel
Oh
phones.
my
That would be a nightmare.
God.
That'd be
Oh
like going to
my
hell.
God.
That'd
Hell?
be hell on earth. That'd be
Hell?
hell on earth right there.
Hold on. You try to get
God
sleep.
judges you to judgment in hell, and there's going to be all those Nextel phones with the beep, and you hear the beep every 2 seconds.
You try to get asleep in the subway after a long day of work. All you hear, click, 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 click. I was like,
No,
no.
you know, I got one worse for you. You're driving, mind your business. The music's blasting, boom, 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 boom. The beat's going. You hear, oh, my phone. Like, oh, nothing. You think you hear it, but it's not going off. You're so paranoid about it the next cell. Every two
Yeah.
seconds, you go, what the fuck, man? I thought my phone went off. Or even when you want to piss somebody off, hit the alert button. And you go,
Hmm.
to hit it. My
Hmm.
father, I used to piss my
Yo,
father off that.
Nectar with the terrorists in New York City.
And the
Legit.
thing is, New York City is the only place where it really worked. I live in New Jersey, especially I used to work in Northern Jersey. The reception was terrible. Like
It's not meant for
coverage
Jersey
wise, it wasn't. It didn't have good coverage unless you were like in a major city. So I'm
city.
near New Brunswick, so I would get decent coverage in New Brunswick. But if you weren't in the major city, if you were in the suburbs, it didn't work very well at all.
It would
So yeah,
it wasn't a suburb phone. It was a city phone, hardcore to
yeah,
the point you could tell everybody who watch people enter the train. Make sure you don't have a neck phone. If you have a neck phone, they're like, oh fuck, we don't.
hmm
Imagine being a subway cart and 20 people in there have neck phone. They and you can't even take a nap. You like you look like a zombie. Everybody like
yeah.
that
No,
was
it's pretty. It
bad.
was yeah, it's pretty bad. But yeah, but I like I said, I never had a beeper, so I didn't really get into text messaging until I got a phone that really had like a um,
Hmm.
full access keyboard on the front end. Because I didn't like what with the numbers and the 3 digits on the numbers, trying to get the right number. Like I just didn't have the patience for that. So
You got a BlackBerry?
now I never owned a BlackBerry.
I
No.
never either.
I did. I
So
actually owned two. I owned the Pearl,
Oh,
the upgrade Pearl one, the actually nice one,
oh,
and the Storm 2, and that was my favorite BlackBerry, the Storm 2,
mhm.
because it was the touchscreen pretty much, just a big ass keyboard. Because when you click down the phone, it was like click 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 click. You actually felt like
Mhm.
a keyboard, but you still had the touchscreen on it.
nah.
Yeah.
There was one phone with annoying too beside the Dectel, the Sidekick.
I never had a sidekick.
Oh, that's the one that slides out, right? Now
Yeah,
that was now actually
that
that now that you just reminded me. Now I don't know if that was necessarily called a smartphone yet,
No, it
but
was
that was
not.
definitely one where it slid out and you had a full keyboard. Now that was actually pretty nice
there
at
were
the
two
time.
versions. The one
Yeah,
that you spin it, it is slide up and or reveal the keyboard. The other one you slide out.
yeah, yeah. I had the one that
Either
slid
one.
out. Yeah,
I used to hate the sound of that thing. It was like I'm like, really?
I didn't have a sidekick. I had something similar that it was you had goes up and there was a keyboard for the phone call,
Uh,
and the other way used to be a keyboard for
was that the
texting.
LG phone that did that?
I
I'm
don't
trying to remember
remember.
which
I
I
one.
can't
don't
remember what
remember.
phone that was,
No,
but
it ATC. Yes, ATC. I'm sorry, I'm a phone.
Was it
I'm a
ATC?
phone. It had to be the ATC phone because that one went out of business too.
mhm.
Yeah, you'd be surprised how many phones we had out there during the texting era when it first started.
Yeah,
You had the LG, the ATC, you got the Nexus, you got the Motorola, aka the original Google phone before it lost its title to another brand. You got the Nextel, you got the Apple phone, what everybody was trying to compete with, then the Samsung phone before it came revamped to what it is right now today.
mhm.
It was a lot. But texting, I think it started from the beeping era, then went from beeping to the BlackBerry slash Nectar era because BlackBerry came with a keyboard and they were the head of the game. That was more like the business phone. If you
Mhm.
think about it, everybody saw that that was the hip phone to get. So either you got the BlackBerry to show up, but I don't know why you need a BlackBerry. You don't have a business. You don't work with corporate America.
Mhm.
Or you had the Nectar chirping phone, which was audio attacking, the click, click, which is another nightmare. Then
Mhm.
your sidekick was T-Mobile making a killing off. T-Mobile have exclusive right to that one with the swivel and everything. It was kind
It's
of like
funny you
funny.
just said that because one of my questions later on tonight was, do you guys remember the exclusive each company had for a while on phone wise?
Mm.
Yeah. I think Nextel was a Sprint deal, I believe,
Yeah, it
right?
was a Sprint deal.
Sprint.
Not at
Yeah.
first, not at first. Nextel was Nextel for a long time.
No,
So
I'm saying
Nextel,
as far as the phone being offered through one of the providers, because you had Sprint,
Hmm.
you had T-Mobile, I think was out AT&T,
yep.
And Verizon,
Verizon, and then you had like some
Nextel
MTI.
has their
other,
own company for the
yeah,
longest time too. Don't
Then
forget
you have
that.
MTI Singular. Singular got acquired by AT&T.
Singular. Yep, I remember. Yep, I had the guy
Yep.
had a Singular account at one
And
point.
MTI
and
was
Nextel
out there
got
back
bought out by
then.
Spring, and
Hmm.
Spring got bought out by T-Mobile now. So T-Mobile
Yeah.
actually has the right for the Nextel rights. Yeah, because they got them that coming. But when I got Nextel years ago, like early 1990 and 98,
Hmm.
2000, God, I feel fucking old. I know how a
You
black gamer
old.
feels.
Oh, ha, very funny. Hardy, ha,
So I remember, like back in high school, and we used to hold our belts because we're scared somebody's gonna steal it. It was a
I'm so,
Nextel you had or the
I'm
Razor.
sorry. The
Hmm.
Nectel, the Sidekick, know what we call it back then? Power morphers. If you understand the jokes,
Yeah. No,
Hmm.
I
which are
got
we referring to?
I got a better one for you. So I'm in the middle of a barber, getting a haircut or whatever to do. I had that Note 5, I think, at the time. So with Androids, like everybody knows, you can get a lot of free shit. So I used to get my free ringtones. So remember the Power Ranger, went up. My
Oh
text
Lord,
message
you.
was like, so my barber stopped, looks around, and looks like, he looks down like, I think Tommy's communicating with you, buddy. And I'm like, yeah,
Oh.
he's back in New York trying to save their city. I'm like,
Oh.
oh, bro, I
Not
used to give shit to everybody who had fucking iPhones back then. Everybody used to get shit from it.
no, iPhone was like the leader because I hate to say that I think iPhone is the one who started the smartphone era. Before we had a smartphone,
It did.
we had cell phone. Samsung was doing their
Okay,
own little
so
thing, but
I'm
they
gonna have to go
didn't
push
really do
back on that
much.
one. So it's between Nextel and I would say no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It was iPhone and BlackBerry that started the iPhone trend.
That you're correct. You're absolutely
Yes,
correct. Because the thing is, BlackBerry was the biggest phone maker at that time, whereby
correct.
multiple corporations were making sure. And the reason why BlackBerry was popular, the encryption software, they had the edge over every other form of security. That made them great. And they even had the keyboard, which was embedded into the phone. You can see it very well, but the way they were typing, I could never understand that. iPhone, well, how would I say? iPhone took a page of one of the main products, the iPad. The iPhone before to come first.
iPhone
No,
came out first.
no, no. Let me explain why. iPad was out first before the iPhone. The iPad create the revenue for the iPhone to come out. If
You're
you
talking
think
about that
about
real early one, bro. It was like black and white. It was like kind of grayscale. It had the
it. Hmm.
stylus pin on it.
Oh, are you talking
You're
about
Hmm.
talking
the
about that old style,
PDA?
yeah, not the tablet like we
Yeah,
know today. No.
Hmm.
it was a PDA that came out before the
Yeah.
iPhone, and
Right.
Yeah.
it sunk. So I was literally gonna give you what are you talking about, Willis? In a minute.
No, no. When you in tech like I have been in, and you know all these
No,
phones
I
that
know you're talking
came
about it
out.
now. Yeah, but when you said iPad, it threw me off completely. But now you're
No,
saying it was a
it
PDA.
was
Now it makes sense.
iPod. Sorry, it was iPod. iPod was what create the revenue that the iPhone actually needed because for what I read into it, the iPhone put to come out before the iPod, but they didn't have the financial backing behind it, so they started the iPod first. Remember those huge brick iPod MP3 players? It was selling like crazy all over the block, and you get the 40 gig, the 80 gig one. It looked like a brick, like you throw that at somebody, person might die from it. When I was looking at it, I was like, damn. Then you know that Microsoft tried to compete with them, and I forgot what that brand they had.
The window
I
phone, you
forgot the
mean?
MP3 player that Microsoft came out with to compete with the iPod.
I
It
don't
could
know what
not
it's
beat.
called. I
It
know what
could
you're
not.
talking about.
It could not beat the iPod to the point whereby Apple shut that one down based on sales alone. So they were
This is
making
what you're
a
talking about, right?
huge. I mean, you know what I'm talking about, right? It was an
No, I'm saying
MP3
this
player
is
that
the Apple you were talking about before, right?
Yeah, I think
Apple.
so. But
Yeah.
didn't Apple with the iPod? When did they come out with with the store? Because it used to be you couldn't get
Right now.
MP3s just directly. Like at least with the Android or the Microsoft one,
I.
you could
Hmm.
literally rip CDs
That was the
and
truth.
download to the
Correct.
phone.
Correct.
That was
Whereas
Correct.
that
Apple
was
always had
truth.
that you got
Yeah.
to get music through the iStore, pay $1 per song or something like that. They didn't
So
allow you necessarily to
I'm trying to
easily
think of what year was
convert
the
it.
your music
question I
over.
have for you, Paul, are you talking about the Apple Store or the iTunes Store? That's two different
Well, the
things.
iTunes store.
Okay, I can look it right
I
now
thought
for
the
you.
iTunes store came out right around the time of the music with the iPod. Because again, they didn't allow
Yeah,
like
yeah, it
that's
did.
that's why for years I only had
iTunes came
the
out
Windows
2001.
MP3 players because I knew I could take direct rips and I could just copy the music from my
I
computer
agree.
directly to my
Hmm.
I agree.
MP3 player.
That is
But
correct.
Apple, they always made it difficult.
That
You
is
had to go
correct.
around to get stuff.
So
That is
iTunes came
very,
out in
very correct.
2001. That's when it blew up. It literally
I
blew
believe
up. It was
so.
like
I believe so.
uncontrollable at
Yeah.
one point.
And
Hmm.
they hit globally big time because when Microsoft came in, they thought they got a chance, but looking at the lead, iPhone was like a leap above everybody else by far. And
Right.
Microsoft had to cut their loss because they lost a lot of money. They put so much investment in that MP3 player, it didn't even do to it. We had so much issue with it.
Right.
So when
Dude,
they
even
saw,
the Windows Phone, remember that? How much money they lost
I
on that
Yeah.
remember
Windows
no,
Yeah.
Phone?
That
no,
crashed and burned. That didn't go
no,
well
that
at all.
that one when I first saw it, I was like, no, it was not going to work.
No, that was going to crash and burn. That was yeah.
I
And they
think
were
it could, but
no,
the
it couldn't.
delivery was wrong. That was the
No,
problem.
no, I'll explain to you why. It could never work for fit. Here was the problem with Windows Phone. Windows Phone, you took Windows operating system, and where it was optimized, it was killing too much resource. That means you had to add more RAMs on the window for it to work properly. And they didn't think about that. They would think, oh, it's not going to be a big. Yes, it was a big deal.
Not to mention the iStore, because I mean, again, you want to talk about in terms of apps available. Like at that time, the iStore really blew up, so you can
Big
get
time.
all kinds of gaming apps, all of the apps that were available through the Apple Store versus the Windows Store. It was like a fraction of the apps that were available. So unless they were going to blow that up, or unless the software developers were going to make versions of their apps
Hmm.
for
Correct.
Windows or whatever, but at the same time, that was still
Correctly.
around the time when Apple was like, you make any software for anybody else, we're done. You know what I mean?
And that
Everybody was
that
trying
was
to have
true. That
exclusive.
was true.
Now everybody tends to make software for every platform, but back then it was like
Oh,
it
they
didn't matter
they
who you
ran
were. It's like you
they
make
run
this
the
for
business.
Microsoft, we
Mhm.
cut your deal.
They were like the juggernaut. They were controlling everything. You could not
Yes,
touch
yes,
Apple.
yeah,
Apple was like, I'm the emperor. You kiss my ass. If you don't
yeah,
kiss my ass, off
That's
with your
why
head.
right now they're looking at a big ass lawsuit. They have a justice system because they're being called a monopoly
hmm
because the monopoly is coming down. Like, okay, let's use a watch for a second. I'm a big watch guy, and Paul, you met me in person. You
hmm
always wear mine. Exactly. So hang on before you get to the head. The reason they're called monopoly is say I cannot take my Apple Watch and put it on a Samsung 23rd or 24 Ultra, or I
right,
cannot put it on a Razor or whatever phone I want to put on it. That is an Apple came back with a statement that says we tried but we couldn't figure it out. Bullshit.
Cap.
Bullshit.
Cap.
I'll call bullshit. There
I
are other
call it
things
cap.
like the iMessage. Once you're locked into the ecosystem, it's very hard to get out. I know that because I tried to get out of it and I couldn't because I'm so used to it now. Before, I was an Android, hardcore Android fan. If you
hmm
look at my old pictures, you see I always had a Samsung. The biggest thing with me is the watch. I'll be straight up with you guys. The watch, the way they have built the Apple Watch is so
It's the same thing
smooth.
with the phone. It's the same thing with the phone. I mean, what I'm telling you about the phone, because on a corporate setting, the iPhone don't do well with corporate network or corporate
hmm
email.
right,
Mr. Betty I
yeah,
could confess to this because he been there what I've been there with many times. These iPhone get knocked off of the network on
hmm
huge numbers, and as tech, we had to go back and reconfigure these phones almost every 3 to 4 months when this happened.
right,
If you configure that Android phone in a corporation one time, you don't hear nothing from these users. Everyone who got an iPhone for some period, they got to go to some kind of update with the server, some kind of update with the MDM, some kind of update with the mobile IONs, etc., etc. We configure it. It was so annoying. And I'm sure Mr. Bell was asking this question himself, like, why are you using the Apple product in a corporate setting in the first place? And
hmm
then we're going to be dealing with for
Cheap.
years.
It's cheap.
And
Simple.
yeah,
the reason I see on a corporate side, like in a fashion company, too many people thought Apple product was top notch, which is actually was not top notch. It was just mediocre.
hmm
When you are a tech, you consider to be the enemy in this type of arena. When it comes to information, because we know what we are looking at, we know what we are testing, we do our digging, we find out this is not what they claim to be. When we talk about the testing arena, what I'm trying to bring back to the conversation, Apple will control that part heavy on multiple levels after Sidekick fell off, BlackBerry fell off. Who else fell off? There was another company. There was two
THE.
other companies. Say again?
THE was another one that fell off.
Another one. It's
What
like,
else was it? Panasonic was another one.
oh,
Yeah, that was actually I was very very surprised they crashed because Sony owned them. They teamed up with Panasonic. Was it Panac or something like that was called, and that's why they were doing so well. But the problem with that was they crashed and burned because the iPhone again.
I'm telling you, I'm glad you mentioned that because this conversation, I miss having the type of come to phone because when we're dealing with this era on texting, texting became a major big deal in the phone industry by far
Mm.
on multiple level.
I
And
have talked to a buddy of mine. Shout out to Roy if he's watching. So we had a similar conversation we're having right now. I go, he's an iPhone hardcore. The day I got my iPhone 12 Pro Max, oh my goes, so what fucking happened, Pete? I thought you like iPhones, blah blah blah. I'm like, Roy, shut the fuck up. You got to punch you through the fucking screen. And like, I know Roy for years, so he says it. Google is a great company, but Apple has, just built a great system, and I'll give them credit to build a good system. But the reason a lot of companies use it is you get the old phones for nothing almost, like dirt cheap. Like they're running iPhone 9s or 10s right now in a bunch of hospitals. Doesn't
Mhm.
here
make
the,
any difference.
here the thing, to be able to sidetrack on that conversation, Apple would consider to be a American-based phone company. Every other phone maker were based outside the country. So in technical term of it, you're not going to give a higher value to a product that's built outside the United States. You better all give a higher value to a product that's built in the US, which was Apple, number one. But in technical term, Apple was not manufactured in the US. It was
Oh, yeah,
manufactured in
totally.
China,
Yes.
which was contradictory
Hmm.
compared to all the other. Because Mr. Bennett, I'm sure Mr. Bennett has been in the type of debate before among his peers, and we already had that discussion about why Apple is abusing the system where every other phone value drops quickly compared to their own product. That has been the argument in tech room. We don't say outside the public because people don't understand our debate, and we go on an intellectual thing. We start to point out the obvious because Apple had their hand in with the government. Let's be real; they were covering for them because if you talk about quality, the Ben will tell you the same thing. Apple have not been high end; it have been mid range for so long. But when
Yeah,
market,
I would definitely say since what would you say since the 12, 10 or the 12,
10,
or you think
10,
10,
prior to that
10, 10 is starting
2010,
to
to go
the 10?
downhill
2010, it
Mm.
have been
because
mid range for the
J,
longest, but
Yeah,
it was
it's
marketed
like a curve. Like it went up and then it just kind of tapered off.
it was marketed as a high end phone when actually was a mid range phone. All the Google Nexus phones before
Hmm.
it was copied off. Ladies and gentlemen, I have to tell you the truth. iPhone was copying Google Nexus for the longest.
Yeah, and
Whoever Google Nexus
I had a Google
had it,
Nexus phone. Yeah.
it copied 2 years afterward. But the
Hmm.
way they were marketing themselves as if they were high end, they were never what high end.
I agree with you because since the 10, after Jobs stepped down or left the company, I'm not sure what exactly happened. I know he got sick. I'm not sure if he got sick or he stepped down before that. But whenever he stepped down, he stepped down, and that's where the company started going straight
No,
down.
they forced them out. We
They
didn't
forced him
step
out.
down. They
I thought he
forced
was
them out
sick.
because
That's why he stepped down.
no, here's the problem.
Not the first time. I'm talking about the second time. That's now before he passed away.
Before
Before
he
the
passed
iPhone 10 came out.
before he passed away, when he first stepped away, they forced him out because they weren't going in the direction he wanted to go to. It's all
Hmm.
about the profit. Steve Jobs, if anybody who studied his work, we understand he's all about perfection. Any
Absolutely.
tech, any tech in the field who study to be a technician, either desktop support, network support, whatever. We know about one thing about Apple. When Steve Jobs was running it, it's all about perfection. He wanted to be the best of the best. He wanted to dominate the market, and he did that from the PC to the iPod to the iPhone. The problem with the board of directors, they didn't see what he was seeing. So when he stepped away from them, the last time before he came back, he started his own company with Pixar, whatever. And once they found out the direction of the phone was going was not exactly how it should be, nosedive. They didn't realize iPhone was Steve Jobs' brainchild. You can't take something from somebody that you can capitalize. This has been my argument. If you did not create this product, if you don't have the vision how the product is supposed to be, how can you take it from somebody you buy it and want to do it your own think it's going to work when you're not the doctor, you're not the genius behind that idea? It defeats the purpose if you think
Hmm.
about it.
Yeah.
Am I wrong, Mr. Bennett?
Nah, nah. I mean, but it's weird. He's to me, he's always been like a controversial figure because he's also
In a good
screwed a
way,
lot of
I think.
people, and But again, it's like, do you need to be a tyrant to be to come out with the best product? We all it's his dealings with employees is well documented. He was a taskmaster. I mean, he would be, especially in today's PC culture with everything, he would have been canceled a long time ago. The way he went, but
Uh,
he drove people.
he would not be canceled. Let's be real. The way he had that connection with the government, if they were trying to
I'm just
cancel.
saying, somebody would have kicked him out. I mean, he would have said something to the wrong person, and that would have gotten. Plus, that you talked about those phones being made in China. I mean, sweatshops. I mean, they had
Yeah,
kids,
mm-hmm.
underage kids working in these factories and whatnot,
And I've
24-hour, 36-hour shifts and things of that nature. I mean, it was
I've
really.
been known for years.
Yeah, I mean, a
Wow.
lot of that stuff came out, and so yeah, but you know it's almost like that line from Black Panther when the father said to the son, "It basically it's hard to be great unless you're basically a jerk. I mean, you're
Mm-hmm.
gonna have to do some bad things in order to be considered great." And so I think Steve Jobs is like the epitome of that. So
He was Dark Vader.
yeah, but he drove. He's like,
Here's my
the
thing with
Death
that.
Star will be completed on schedule.
So,
So-
all joke. I know where you guys joking around and all that stuff, but here's the thing: he pushed the envelope so far that every time a new iPhone came out, it was something unique. I remember FaceTime,
yeah,
text message, iTunes. I can go on and on for hours. But
yeah.
ever since when Steve Jobs, Tim Cook took over, right? I'm not
Tim
mistaken.
Cook took over. Yeah.
Ever since it's been stale.
No,
Like,
everything's
stale.
been. You're right. Everything has been incremental changes. This kind of staying up with. It's almost like, but it's almost like Tesla. Like where Tesla is now.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they had such a leap on everybody in terms of the cars. Now you have a lot of the car manufacturers are catching up. I mean, the price didn't Tesla they slashed their prices like 25% like last year.
I heard about that.
So
Something like that is going on. I'm not sure the whole
yeah,
story
yeah.
behind that.
So again, it's like when you come out with something that innovative, you can enjoy several years of
Facts.
ease because no you're so far ahead of everybody. But that's a
Facts.
curse at the same time because again, you stop innovating. And when you see those profits, I mean, Apple got to what, over $1,000, $1,100 a share at one point a few years
Mm-hmm.
ago. So when you're
That's
doing
before
that kind
COVID, I
of
think.
when you're doing those kind of numbers, it's hard to be. Again, it's like when you get to the top of the mountain, it's hard to stay hungry when you're at the top of the mountain and then coming off. That's that whole eye of the tiger thing, So
Which
it's
which
hard to.
which is the reason why Microsoft collaborated with Android. But what they did, they bought a particular royalty share with Android. When I looked into
Mm,
it, I was like, yo, Microsoft is the SOB for real. Because
yeah,
let's be real, when Google first started on trying to create their own Android operator would probably be a competitor to the iOS.
mm,
Based on legal term, it had to be assigned to a particular phone. That's why they purchased Motorola to signify that it's legit as their phone operator, and did that for a couple of years until they leased it out to other companies to use. Now,
yeah,
mind you, if Apple would succeed to shut down Android, there won't be no competition.
And that's why the Justice System is arguing right now, is saying, hey, we want a fair ground for everybody. We don't care you guys have your unique stuff and your iMess and all that shit. Make it
Hmm.
fair. And you guys, they're actually blaming Apple for the failure of the Amazon phone. I thought the Amazon phone was going to fail no matter what. I don't think
yeah,
it was really
Uh,
a Apple thing.
no, I think Amazon phone was overreaching. Let me tell you why I say it's overreaching. Yeah, let's look at the history of Amazon. Amazon have been here since the beginning of the internet boom. Went from scanning books to get ebook to the point where that it took a long path to level of success, which was, I have to say that Amazon is the greatest success story in the internet era, overseeing Apple in a different way because Apple
I'll
shoot
give
up
you that.
quicker in the early days. A-
mm,
Amazon was just chilling the whole time, building a foundation until they got what it need to be at. And before you notice, everybody slept on Apple, even eBay. But the thing is, you're going to the point where you're trying to. I hate to say that Amazon to chill out on this one before you get a lawsuit too. You're trying to conquer everything. That's too much. We used to. I'll show you the benefit heard the joke. You could buy anything from it. You can even buy a house. Now, figuratively
yeah,
speaking, yes, you could buy a house now.
yeah.
From Amazon?
So don't sleep. Google it. Go to Amazon. Look for a portable
I'm
house
going
to
to do it right
buy.
now,
And
actually.
you be
Especially if you
shocked.
get one of them. Especially if you get one of them portable houses that we saw a couple weeks ago on the barbershop, right?
Yeah, and I was sending a
You
link
get
for
one of the
different
modular
versions.
homes.
hmm And the link I was trying to send to you guys to the chat, the home was much cheaper than about under at least $10,000 it cost for a portable home. But the way they were being designed, it could ship globally anywhere around the world, which was much better but more efficient than what you were showing on the chat.
Mm-hmm.
The whole show was I did that research for almost a year and a half, and I was scratching my head like, when this one started, not realize what the thing, but what Amazon was doing was overreaching. So the Amazon phone wasn't going to succeed because here's the problem. The better know this very very well. When it comes to these phone market, if you didn't start early on in the game, it's hard to come in toward the end of it or to the late time because when we had T-Mobile, you had MSI, you had Sprint, you had Singular, AT&T, Verizon. We have multiple competition at that time, and
By the way,
during
Mm-hmm.
they're
that
going to hate
time,
you right now.
by the time all these phone makers who were trying to compete with Apple were trying to get their foot in.
Right.
Apple forced Samsung, HTC, AG, LG, Nokia, BlackBerry did not change for a while until they
Yeah.
realized they were losing shares.
Yeah. They aged out. I mean, yeah.
They
Actually,
forced
technically,
every.
BlackBerry still makes phones, but overseas only because that's the only place they can sell it. That's the
I
only
know,
market they actually are demanding, like India and stuff like that.
Mm.
but then it forced every phone maker to redo phone how it was because they're using what they call the CBN OS. Is that if I'm correct, Mr. Bennett?
The which OS?
The OS, the CBN, if it is SYM, I forgot what it was. It was a particular OS they were using on every phone back then before the smartphone.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I think I know you. Yeah. I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Before they adopted the
Yeah.
Android
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Right.
because because the iOS was beating every other phone out there. No one
Mm-hmm.
could compete with. Not even BlackBerry had their own security, which was the encryption software that saved them for the
Mm-hmm.
longest because corporate America was using them more.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they had the tech features, iPhone was trying to perfect the tech features much better than the BlackBerry, so they were hoping to gain market. Only problem with the iPhone is security. In corporate America, you don't have encryption security to protect data. They don't put you having a phone on the a company network.
Right.
This kind of thing. So that was the only difference. Though BlackBerry was safe at that time,
Mm.
but every other phone
But even in
maker,
corporate, though, a lot of these they use some sort of authenticator. Like they'll use like Google Authenticator, Microsoft
yeah,
Authenticator, or whatnot. So
but
almost
they
as
have,
a way to circumvent. So they kind of go outside of
mhm.
the security within the phone. They use an external app to have the encryption.
But it was more it worked better on Android side of thing, but not on iOS. Because iOS, you can see for itself every 3 to 4 months there's a hiccup along the way. Yeah, we
Mm.
can figure out that was the problem. But when it comes to texting, Apple would hold that market hand down. It forced Samsung, Sony, all the other phone maker out there to change how they were doing texting. Because mind you,
Right.
let's be real, you have to admit, Apple stole some of the idea from the Sidekick and others because they saw how Sidekick was very, very popular when it comes to texting.
Mm.
Texting was a big deal with the. There was one other phone before the Sidekick. I forgot. It was one fancy phone that all these celebrities have. I forgot the name of that phone. It wasn't a beeper, but was something uniquely only for the higher up people who have the money to afford it. I forgot what the name was.
It was like
Mm.
Game Gear almost looked like.
It looked like a Game Gear kind of thing, but it wasn't. But Sidekick made huge amount of money because of the flexibility of the phone how it was because
Mm.
more people were texting more during the Sidekick era than be on the phone because you know what? It had a keyboard, functioning keyboard. You could actually text
Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
typing.
Right.
So you gotta get them prop for that.
Yeah.
So when that was
No, it
going
was.
on for a
Yeah.
while, Apple saw something. You know what? We need to do something different. So they have a phone with nothing but screen, but you can use the screen to text. That was innovative.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
And that's where Apple has always been good. And again, I'm not saying Apple's a bad product. I'm not saying that. I'm saying
hmm
what they do, they're really good. Let's just give them credit when it's due. What
hmm
I am saying is nothing has changed with the phone. It's always the
And
like
that's
from
and that's
the
what and
10.
that's what the argument.
Yeah, like
Mm.
I had the 10. I know. I'm sorry. I never had the 10. I never had the 11. I had the 12. Never had the 13 or 14. I have the 15 now. I don't see any difference between those phones. Really,
Yeah,
the process.
there's very little because, like I said, in my house I have a 13. My wife has a 14. I think my daughter has a 15. And like I said, I feel no need to upgrade. Like I haven't had a need to upgrade my
Seriously, yeah.
phone since when I went from 10 to 13 when they brought the three I got a Pro, I got the 3 cameras, and I think that's when I sort of noticed the difference. I haven't seen anything major since then, and I think that for me the thing is even the cameras haven't really changed much since then, because you saw when we had the eclipse. I think people were showing, like, I know I think someone took a picture with an Apple phone, and then someone took one with an Android phone, and the quality of the picture was a lot better on the Android phone. I think when it came to
Oh God, yeah.
especially taking pictures at nighttime, Apple they still seem to struggle with taking nighttime pictures.
Now, here's the thing.
So,
Here's the
hear me
thing.
out for 1 second. Hear
Okay.
me out 1 second, like there. So right now, Apple is up here. Google is really making their own phones now. Finally, the Pixels.
Mm-hmm.
The 8 wasn't as good as you think it was, because if you put the specs to get next to Apple and the Pixel 8 Pro, they're pretty much almost the same. The battery is different. That's the only thing, and the different processor.
Mm-hmm.
But the 9 is about to be announced any week now.
Mm-hmm.
I bet you the 9 and the 10 is moving forward, they're going to try to get up them, because whatever Samsung has, Google has to approve it first. That's why Samsung right now is, if you look at the best smartphone, is Samsung right now.
And the thing about, no, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I wanted to go back to the pad when it comes to texting.
Oh, by the way, before
How,
I forget, N Gear. That's what the phone you're looking for. The N
yeah,
Gear.
and there you go. Thank you for doing that for me, because
You're welcome.
when I look at all these phones changing over the period of time, the first thing comes to my mind is how long would Apple will play that game and make it seem like what their phone is innovative when it's not innovative? Because there used to be a meme out there until first. This guy from Unbox Therapy hurt them when he realized they changed the material, and there to be a joke called remember the Band-Aid meme they was making on the web during that time when
I hate you right now. I fucking hate you right now.
it, I didn't forget it. I did not forget it. The guy in Canada,
Fucking
shout out
old.
to
That's
my
why I
Canadian
say.
brothers out there, because he caught on to the thing. Because he noticed something was different by the material to when he used to work in a phone shop, and he tested the material. You realize Apple was lying about how they changed the material, so they're doing these Band-Aid things. You can see the picture of the Samsung phone standing straight, or oh yeah, the Google phone it used to have the curve. I remember that meme. Google phone had
Yeah,
the
yeah.
curve.
Mm-hmm.
Apple bend. I still had a picture of my PT. Yeah, they were doing memes on this one bad. Because
I,
Nexus
I
came with a
don't. What phone
they
was
came,
it? Curved? You said?
Google Nexus had
The
a
Google
curve.
Nexus, yeah.
They had a code phone at that time to fix the problem of phone bending, aka Band-Aid or the Apple.
Mm-hmm.
That was a marketing scheme that hurt Apple for a long period of time because they were trying to lie that they didn't change the material. And this YouTuber, it was because of what Apple did, he became infamously famous. Tim from Unbox Therapy. It was then the Supreme Court forced Apple to reveal the truth that they actually did change the material and they got what's actually correct. Once that happened, his channel exploded because one, they realized Apple was lying about a lot of things. It was hiding things from the public, making it seem like this now they what it is. But I also think that was also point out other enthusiasts was pointing out Apple was copying Nexus phone for years. And they were comparing based on note and information pointing out the obvious. So
Mm-hmm.
when you start seeing a company not being truthful on how to bring a product and they're copying the same functionality and feature from another phone that's been out there for 2 years in advance, you start to wonder, what the hell is this? Because Apple for the longest
So,
had not been a high end phone. With a mid range phone marketed to be high end to get high end price. Whereby mid range phone that's not American made, aka everybody else's phone. If it's mid range, you have mid range price. 'Cause remember, you have the high end phone with a high end price, mid range with a mid range price, and you have the low end price.
Mm-hmm.
Apple was robbing the public for decades,
hang
selling
on 1 second,
mid range
Black
phone.
David.
Okay,
So the curved phone you were talking about, it was actually the LG curved.
with also a Nexus. They get
Next,
the
I
they
never
get about
heard Next doing that. To be honest with you, because I only remember the LG, and I thought it was stupid. To be honest with you, too. I also hated when they were curving the screens. I went through so many screen protectors for that fucking reason. Hate that shit. Whoever designed a curved screen that should be kicked in the goddamn balls.
Mm.
Oh
Honestly,
God.
I never used the screen protector until I actually got my iPhone 6. That's the first time. But that curved, I never had a problem with it. I never had it. The only thing I put on a piece of because it was a very slick phone in your hands. Like the fabric, like it was hard to hold. So I put like some tape, some black tape on it, but the tape had a little um, friction on it, so it fit a little bit easier in my hand when I was holding it. But outside of that, um, yeah, I never used the screen protector. But when I started using Apple phones, that's when I started using the screen protectors. But I've been on a good streak as of late. I've only had one on since I got my 13. I only had to replace it once, so I guess so far it's so good.
So I just replaced this one because, funny story, my dog got excited. He yanked on me because he saw
Oh
another dog.
Lord.
My phone went flying and went straight down, screened down on concrete. Nothing happened to the screen. The screen protector was shot.
Mm.
It
That's the
wasn't like,
scariest thing. It's like when you see the cracking, you don't know if it's just it's like, please let it just be the protector, not the screen. So when you peel it off, that's when you know for sure.
yeah, you know what? Because I been through this before with the phones like that. Because one of the notes, I had this worst luck of that one note. Was a 7 or 8? I can't remember which one it was. Something with that phone was jinxed. I had such bad luck with that phone. Screen protector, cases, everything, nothing went on the phone, but everything I put on it safety wise broke. So that's why I hate curved screens on top of that.
Mm.
So when I peeled it off, I looked at it like, it's a screen protector. And I peeled it off, like, whoop, well, I need a new one now. And nobody has the freaking. I like the glass one personally with the privacy screen.
Yeah.
Couldn't find that anywhere right now for some reason. Don't know why. And I'm not walking out without a screen protector on my phone. Fuck that. Now let me ask you guys a question. What do you guys think about the watches?
Never
Oh,
use one
watches.
because most of the time for me, especially when it comes to training, all my training is mostly strength training. And any smartwatch, I don't care what it is lousy at tracking any kind of progress whatsoever from strength training, from your heart rate to everything else. Those watches, mostly if you're doing cardio or some, activity like that, they're fine. But or a spin bike or whatever it is. But if you want to talk about, a high intensity workout, like I said, a lot of my workouts are like 30 minutes. It's no indicator. The only thing they're good for is just heart rate monitoring. But again, I can do that simply just with an app on my phone. Between sets, whatever. If I want to get what my heart rate is, I just take it then and there. But as far as continuing heart rate monitor, that's the only advantage. And then I never felt the need to spend $300-400 on an iPhone on an iWatch for
800
that. When
actually.
I've gotten away with much cheaper type of watch. Now, in fact, even this point, I don't even wear one. I used to have the heart rate monitor had the strap on my chest, and I had the watch band on for like continuous when I was doing a lot of cardio because I wanted that continuous monitor, but I didn't have to check and wait for the number to come up. But outside of that, I see no benefit to an iWatch. But again, my wife and a couple of my daughters have them, but I just haven't felt the need. It's not going to be that vital to my life to have one. And I like wearing watches. Like I went a few years ago before the pandemic. I went into this phase where I just started buying watch. I didn't wear a watch for probably about 10, 12 years. And then I was watching this guy on a channel. He was talking about different watches and whatnot. So we talked about remember the original G-Shock watch. So I was like, that's interesting. So I changed up my fashion a little bit, and I just started accessorizing my watch with whatever I was wearing. So I own about 15 to 20 watches right now. But again, they're not high end, they're not, but they're just accessories at this point. But as far as just the Apple Watch or the Samsung or the what's the other popular one?
It's the
Fitbit.
Google one, the Samsung
Fitbit,
one.
yeah,
Fitbit.
it doesn't. If I did a lot more cardio stuff or whatever, it's like, I could see getting one. But at this point, 30-minute strength training
So
session, it won't tell me what I need.
personally, it's convenient for me taking my phone out because as a chef, you're not really supposed to wear a watch either, but they you
Yeah,
can get away with it a little bit because of
that's
the
true.
bacteria. But because of the reason, it's better for me doing this versus doing this with gloves on, and because the watch has over 1,000 bacteria more than a hospital does. So keep that in mind when you're touching your phones.
Yeah.
So that's why I got it. The reason I'm asking that question is I think this is more me and Black David thing because we both have different two watches. I have an Apple Watch and you have a Samsung 3, right?
I got a Samsung 5 Pro
Bro,
watch because of the
okay,
material. But
okay.
the thing about these smartphone watches, I don't think Apple had the edge on the smartphone watch for the long because Fitbit was the one that was beating them. Because what Fitbit was doing was they were making sure they were catering the phone for people who were into fitness more than anything else. Apple was more
Mm,
like copying everybody else. Now you notice no one had a competitor for the Apple Watch for a while until Google Samsung started doing the smartwatch. But what they were doing, they started to pick up on what was being done, what Fitbit was doing. So I'm not sure they did a collaboration with Fitbit. When I got my first watch, was the Samsung Galaxy Watch 4. The material on me was messing up my skin bad.
mm,
So the Galaxy Watch 5 Pro with titanium would have less effect on my skin than aluminum. Without what I kept that particular model. All the other Samsung watch that's out there is made with aluminum. I cannot use that. With titanium, I prefer that more than anything else. But the thing about fitness, heart rate, I would give it to both Fitbit and the Samsung Galaxy Watch, which is more precise than that of the Apple Watch. Because to me, where the Apple Watch is failing on a lot of Apple, like you just say, you call to monitor your exercise, monitor your workout, right? Now, the the annoying part with the Galaxy Watch is they have a feature allow you to automatically pick up what kind of workout you're doing. If you're doing squat, you weightlifting, or you're on a bike, or you're on a treadmill, whatsoever. They have different features, different type of actual monitor. But
mm,
for some apparent reason, you have to clear out the cache every now and then for it to pick up automatically. When there's too much cache be taken up over a period of time,
mm.
just like a smartphone. When you don't clear up your cache, it takes a while for the phone to start to operate in that type of way. So I'm looking at what are the flaws. You need more RAM space, you need more capacity, you need a better battery. Because on a Fitbit watch, you can last almost a whole week on a charge or so.
Mm.
Galaxy watch in between 3 to 4 days, depending on how you use it. Now, if you're very, very active more often, I would say on a 2 to 3 day, you will burn out the charge because one, it had to keep on switching from mode to mode. Either you're jogging or you're on the bike or you're lifting weight or you do all kind of things. It will pick up those things and will pick up the
Right.
heart rate. A lot of bikers who work in Manhattan who are like deliverers within the city, they mostly wear Fitbit watch more than Apple Watch or anything because the functionality, the feature they have along with it not only track the heart rate, it also track the amount of distance they took on a bike. It's like an
Right.
exercise.
Right.
So you cannot. I'm not trying to be biased, but if you will do a smartwatch test, best believe you have to test it all across the range of the functionality and feature. And I believe either Fitbit or the Galaxy Watch will have an edge. Now you
Mm.
have Asus have their own watch right now. Um,
Everybody
how you
has their
wait?
own watch now. Even freaking
Almost everyone, but
Fossil,
the only one that's in the market right now in the U.S. are the Apple Watch, the Galaxy Watch,
Google,
um, what again?
the Pixel, Google Pixel,
Pixel, Fitbit, and there's one
OnePlus.
more. OnePlus. OnePlus also in the game right now. So you have to
Yeah, but
compare
they also don't forget Fossil and some other companies have
Fossil.
aside phone
Fossil just
ones.
started to jump into the mix because they realized people are walking from regular watch into smartwatch.
Yeah. So I'm gonna agree with you. Is Apple did not start the Apple Watch. They haven't started nothing new. Let's be straight here for a minute.
Hmm.
But they make it popular. Keyword
Yeah.
popular.
Marketing. It's how they market.
They're very good at it, dude. Remember when the AirPods came out?
Ah.
Samsung had them out for years. All right. So other companies had the one that go around your neck. Remember that one?
Hmm.
Yeah, and they have magnets, and you put them on. They were out for years. I had one in there, but for some reason, when Apple came out, all of a sudden they took the jack out. Oh my God, people lost their goddamn shit. So
The
hang on,
the
hang on, hang on,
80s.
hang on,
Okay.
hang on. Now Samsung goes, "Ooh, we can't make more money like this. Let me come after you." And they did it too. Then they took the brick out to save their environment, quote unquote. Quote unquote. Really, they didn't. They were just saving money. Guess who followed up behind them? Samsung. You see the trend?
I see the trend, but there was the reason behind it.
I'm hearing.
Look,
The floor is yours.
Samsung, you can never speak on a company like that because Samsung had their hand on a lot of things, which is you cannot argue. Perfect example, the screen. They produce about 97 to 98% of every smartphone's screen out there. You cannot even argue that. When I look into it, who manufactured on every smartphone screen, Samsung had a hand in it. I'm like, what? So when I started digging further, not only they manufacture the screen, but also manufacture the chip for most phones. I was like, okay, what the hell is going on? I said, who manufactured the camera? Sony. Oh, then when you start to put two and two together. Samsung and Sony have been in business, long making components for smartphones. Apple had to go to Samsung to get their screen for their phone based on a particular spec. But every other phone had a different spec set up for their phone. Because they had the technology to do that. Fine. So what Samsung do? How can it be the competitor? Learn how to do things. But here was I think the mistake was being made. Yes, Samsung was copying to a certain degree, but that's because the people higher up there they're thinking that if you make the phone look more like the iPhone than your own phone, that's when you win. When we were actually wrong because Samsung had loyal fans on particular brands. Normally the not the S brand, the Note brand. The Note brand, the Galaxy Note had one of the biggest diehard fan among Samsung because they like how the phone feature was made. The Galaxy Note was designed to be a hybrid between the smartphone and the tablet,
Hmm.
all in one.
Yeah.
It was meant to be this is the business corporate phone and how it should be. So they developed a unique look of hardcore fan who like the feel and look of it. Nobody cared about having a phone that looked like an iPhone. But for some apparent reason, the higher up who were dealing with the marketing, they want to get the market that iPhone had. So what they had to do, make the phone look closer and closer to the iPhone. With many of us tech, we picked up on it and we was not happy about it. That was one part. Second part was the naming convention. That threw us off. They skip a few names in between the naming convention of their phone before they decided to say, you know what, we're gonna merge the Note series with the SE and make it complete as the S. So if you want the Note phone, will be the S Ultra, and they actually bring the actual folding phone. So it kind of like they're looking at how can I compete with one who had the lead for so long. I'm gonna put it in the back end for good. But they know that if they do that, they have other competitors that high on their heel and they catching up. The only thing protecting them is the American government. Let's be real.
The only thing
American
I'm gonna push back a little bit. After the Note, they had issue with the phone blowing up. If you remember, that's why they discontinued
and
that.
that will cut in corners.
Then the Edge came out for a small period, like one series. Meaning it was
Hmm.
like it was the Plus, it was the Edge Plus. It was supposed to be the Note, and the other two ones. Then
Hmm.
a year later, the Ultra came out, and they said we're gonna call it Ultras and call it a day. That's the only pushback I got for you.
You have to push back because you're not the only one who push back. Me as a fan, I'm a fan of the Galaxy Note series, and there's many other we had the same argument, but we realized Apple always going to have an edge when Steve Jobs was alive because he understands customer better than anybody else.
Yeah.
What customer like and what they want, if you can put that in the phone, you drive the market up to your favor,
Yeah.
and that had Apple was leading. But for some apparent reason, since Steve Jobs now they got Tim Cook. Tim Cook did not have the vision that Steve Jobs had. This is why I called it out. The moment that Steve Jobs passed away, I called it Apple was not gonna be the same because Tim Cook don't have the vision that Steve Jobs had to make the phone better than it is. As you can call it out. Every phone ever since then, it doesn't look like nothing changed.
Nope.
It's just
The
a matter of
only
time.
change we're getting is gonna be this year. I know October. I want to say they're going to do a full reboot of the software. So when you're going to turn your phone off one day and your phone is with biggest reason, and this they Apple has announced they fucked up. Siri is the worst AI system they have.
What took them long to realize that one?
Yeah. So they now, because they were so worried about everything else, iMessage, they were pushing. That's the thing with pushing. Let me ask you a question. As the tech guy who has a watch, let's say somebody like myself. I'll use me as an example. Okay, I love my Apple Watch. What is equal for an Android watch? It's not Samsung. I already can tell you that because I had a Samsung recently and I hated it. It's not equal.
To be used on a Samsung watch, I would recommend you to Google
Google. That's what I
Alexis.
thought.
You know what I'm saying? That they have their own version, but they're still working on it. The problem is a lot of people have a lot of issue with the AI version they have on Samsung. Reason why I don't use that feature because I did my test on it after a while. It's like a conflict of the configuration you have on your phone. I have a
So
Samsung phone.
the
It's Bixby.
Samsung,
Their name is Bixby. Samsung have their own
I hate
called
fucking
Bixby.
Bixby.
Bixby is not done properly as it should be. This is
Bixby's a
why
bitch.
anyone who have the Samsung, anyone who knows that if you have a Galaxy S or the Galaxy Note 3 during that time, the replacement for Bixby was Google Nexus. Google Nexus was a little more stable. It was easy to use. It was not annoying as Bixby was. Next, Samsung noticed that, so they're still trying their best to push it more and more,
Hmm.
so that they can get that market to compete with Siri. I could kill less by Series. Because to me, I think Siri was annoying, the hearing
Mm.
series. But anyone who have used Google or Amazon AI, they'll tell you either of the two right now to this day is better to use. But on the phone, it has to be Google.
I prefer Google on my phone. I'll be honest with you. Big C, I think she's a bitch. I'm not gonna lie to you. I hate that voice. I'm like, I want to tie her wires. That's how much I hate her.
Someone
But
did a someone did a meme. Imagine you put Big C to talk with Series and see how they're gonna argue. I thought I
that's
was
a great idea,
laughing.
actually.
Mm.
Stacy, I need to borrow your phone for a day.
Mm.
Um,
I want to go back to
yeah, go for it.
someone mentioned earlier. Dave, you may go back to remember the 1984 Apple commercial,
Which one?
Can you,
the original, the 1984 when they came out. I think it was the first Macintosh that came out.
Okay, I
oh,
think I know what you're
between
talking about.
Macintosh and Windows, that competition. Talk about we are.
Right, but I'm saying, but the first, I think it was a Super Bowl ad, and I think they borrowed from the whole Big Brother concept or whatever. It was shot like in black and white or whatever. It's like Apple has always been in the forefront when it came to marketing,
It
and I
was.
think their commercials, whoever was the brainchild behind their commercials,
Yes, you go
certainly were the
correct.
ones who set the trends for what the consumers wanted. They were able to tap
Hmm.
into what made um, Apple to have an Apple phone cool for anybody in any portion of the world.
Hmm.
All this stuff that we're talking about, Androids are better or Samsung is better. That is for
Hmm.
the tech geek. That's for the tech nerd. And again,
Facts.
you're only going to appeal to a small subset of that demographic who are hardcore into tech. And I think
Pretty
that's one of the
much.
things that I think Jobs was able to recognize. It's like, he was looking to not create not even the best phone, but a phone for the masses. Whereas I think these other companies, they're trying to come out with these, sophisticated phones for guys like I would say you guys, because even though I'm in tech, I don't think I'm that when it comes to because technology for me, it got to a point where trying to keep up with it, I just got tired of it. So tech is going to change, and I don't care. Like, and I'm the type I would hold it. I held I think my iPhone 6 for like 3 or 4 years before I moved up to then I got the 6 Plus, and then I jumped to a 10, and then I jumped to a 13. So again, I'm not the one who's going to be standing in line around Christmas time waiting for the new phones to drop. I'm not that guy.
Now that
And
commercial,
anything
that
that I
commercial was
buy,
funny.
was that?
That commercial was funny when they did that. That was
Yeah,
a
but it
market on
was like a
Apple.
thing. It's
Samsung
like
did
the
that.
Apple phone. It was like It's like when the sneakers came out. I don't know, especially with some people. The new sneakers gonna drop or the new phone's gonna drop. You got lines in the mall going all the way
Even
to
games
the
were like
one
that
end of
too.
the mall to the other.
Mr.
People
Bennett,
waiting to
give
get in to
Apple
get the phone.
credit for this. When they did their commercial, the commercial only had two rivalry. One was Microsoft on the Macintosh versus the Windows PC
Mhm.
rivalry. The other
But
one
I
was
don't
the
remember a Windows commercial. What Windows commercial do you remember?
No,
I
that
remember one
was
commercial.
Samsung. That was a Samsung. Samsung. It was a
No,
commercial with
first, no,
Samsung.
before it was Samsung, it was Apple versus Windows. They were competing with
Bro,
who
you're
had a
fucking
better
older than
product.
anybody on this floor right now.
You know
You're the
what?
oldest person
Screw
here.
you. Screw you. Yo, I am not old as RP. RP is Asian, okay?
Hmm.
The
Is
only
that
old
loud
one
enough
among
now,
us.
guys?
What's that?
Is that loud enough now?
No, it's
Well,
good. It's
your
good.
rim shot was loud. Your voice is still a little shallow, at least through my ear
Okay.
through my earphone.
I
Okay.
remember
I'll
seeing
make
But
the
sure the sound
commercial
effects
on
are listening. I
TV.
adjusted the volume a little bit on it.
They had
Um,
one
no,
guy
but
who looked.
Steve Jobs, his number one attribute is again he knows how to put on a show.
Mhm.
The whole thing when he first came out with the Mac, he came up there. He used to wear a tuxedo when he would come up there and make those
I
product
remember those.
launches and limitations. Then
So
he
old now.
came out with the classic black shirt and jeans, you know, and that became something that even Steve Cook, he
Iconic.
just kept it going. You know what I mean? That just became right. So he knows how to launch. Again, he's not the brainchild behind Apple. That was Steve Wozniak. Wozniak was the geek. He was the guy.
He
He
was.
just built. Wozniak was the type of guy. He would build a computer just for
For
kicks.
fun.
You know what
That's
I
why he
mean?
was doing it. He did it for a
He
hobby.
just loved doing it. Jobs was like, look, we need to make some money, right? So he was the one who really drove the. He's like the Barnum and Bailey big
Facts.
top. He's like the Vince McMahon, if you want to use a wrestling analogy.
Facts.
Steve Jobs is
Facts.
like Vince McMahon because it's not like the wrestling. I mean, especially all those years of wrestling, especially before the Attitude Era, the wrestling was trash. The gimmicks were trash and all that. But again, he knew how to sell the slammies. All that was garbage. If you wanted to watch real wrestling, you watch NWA, or if you had access to a New Japan, if you wanted to watch professional wrestling. But he already
Facts.
knew I'm going, forget that. We're sports entertainment. He already, so he was already, so to me, Jobs is very similar in that, again, he
He
knew how to
was.
tap into the people. And like I said, all the guys who complain about the phones, the masses aren't hearing it because it is still an
And, and,
iconic
and that is so true.
American brand, like you said, even though we know they're not made in America, but he did that. So I'll give him more credit for that, more so even than the way he pushed his employees. He
But
knows how to market.
let's be real. Apple commercial was more on TV than any other product during that the rivalry. Like I said, the
Lots of
rivalry
yeah,
between Apple and Windows was so funny. They had the one guy in the suit who represented Apple with a glass, look like his boy had it. Another guy with a nice hair with a jacket on, regular street jacket. He was from Windows. It was going back and forth on TV. I was
yeah,
getting annoyed with that thing. It was
Dude,
annoying.
Apple came back with the same commercial, a similar one. That was this kid, a popular kid, an actor. He played American Pie. Actually, he goes, "Well, he's like a Mac."
And
And I'm
that
like,
and that's what the thing. It was back and forth until Samsung do the same exact thing to them that they were doing to Windows, whereby when you see a Samsung phone, someone got a Samsung going to the Apple store, see the long line, and that's what the Jaddo was doing. That's what they hit it where it hurt. Why wait on a line for a new phone when you could get your phone right now?
mm,
And that's what
yeah,
the job that been going on for years. Apple had two major rivals with Microsoft and Samsung when it comes to the ad. They were going back and forth at it. Almost every channel you change your TV to, you had to see an Apple or advertisement or Microsoft ad against them, or you see an Apple against Samsung or something against Apple. It was so common for a decade. It was
yeah.
back and forth. They control.
Very true.
Yeah, he's right. Mr. Bennett's right. Their job was like Vince McMahon when it comes to marketing.
no,
They were
he
Yeah,
knew business. He knew at a very young age. He knew he could take a rubber dog shit and sell it to you like a gold chain. Simple. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. He was good a salesman. He was a salesman, but I didn't like how he screwed people over so much.
yeah.
Like
Like I
his
said,
partner.
ruthless. Like I said earlier, and that's always the question: Can you? Is there any billionaire who is not ruthless?
good
I
question.
I just don't. I don't think it's. I don't know if it's possible. You know what I
That could be a
mean?
that could be a new show right there. That could be another
That's
show
a
right
yeah,
there.
but it's
I'll make one in a couple weeks. Don't worry.
So you gonna
but
search every
that's the thing.
billionaire
I
out
mean,
there and find out
you
who was not ruthless? Man, that'll be hard to find.
right. Because everything that you guys talked about with the monopolization, every company's ever done that. We've dealt with monopolies in
Absolutely.
America since the 1900s. Back in
A
the day, U.S.
AT&T,
Steel and the robber barons and all those folks from back in the day or whatever.
and
It's
AT&T,
almost a natural
and
thing
no,
when you're on
with Bell
top.
Atlantic, the Bell Company before you get Bell Atlantic, Bell
Absolutely,
Midwest.
absolutely. So we've always dealt with monopolies, whether it be the steel industry, the tech industry, IBM, when
The car industry
Cable.
was worse. The
yeah,
car industry was worse.
Which
They
one?
were ruthless in the car industry. They were preventing Ford from coming out.
yeah.
That's how bad it was.
Yeah, that's how it is. That's why this country has never been, in my view, it's never been a truly capitalistic country.
Mm-mm.
It's never been, because again, if you truly are a fan, or a follower of capitalism,
Hmm.
the free market is like the first principle. The invisible hand is the second principle.
Hmm.
That you let people compete. Whoever comes out with the best product,
They
they
win.
win. You either improve or you get out.
But what they
And
did
but
back
what
in the
happened
day,
was,
it was
the
not.
guys who get out first, you close the door so no one else can get in. And
Or
oftentimes work with the government in order to make sure that happened.
or they espionage to go and sabotage people's products.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That was the
Yeah, so
game.
I'm saying, so a lot of people who argue for capitalism, what the at least the version that we have, it's not free market capitalism. I mean, if you truly believe that, then again you have to be totally anti monopoly, totally anti lobby, anything that eliminates competition. If you're a true capitalist, you welcome competition, because the principle is, oh, well, that'll make us better. Yeah, the fact that we have competition, yeah, we got to work harder than anybody else.
That
Nobody's
being
trying to do that.
that being said, you gotta be total anti-Amazon because what
That's what I'm
Amazon have
saying.
done.
That's it. No, so again, this is the whole capitalism versus socialism versus communism versus, it's all just theoretical in nature. But I don't think we've never had a truly capitalist country. We've never had a true communist country. Now, socialism, yeah, that's the thing. Communism, for the most part, is socialism. I mean, when you talk about the
I will give you another
government
one.
essentially controls the means of production and resources.
Yeah,
That whole
I
communism thing, as far as everybody having a plot of land and everyone sharing in the wealth, that's, I'm saying, classic communism. If you read, don't, that's the thing. See, you bought into the lie also. Read up on communist theory, just simple communist theory. It sounds great. Everybody's a landowner. Everybody shares in the wealth. Everybody gets their piece. Socialism, it's about government, again, controlling the resources and means to wealth and production, the natural resources. So every communist country, that there's never been a communist country ever. I don't care what they label themselves. CCCP has never been about communism. It's always been socialism, always. Those are the extremes that you deal with. So communism has never been really fully tried out, and neither has capitalism. It's always been some sort of hybrid where you take a little of this and a little of that, and you make something to it. But yeah, I mean, this especially in the tech space. I mean, yeah, there's how many guys, because when Steve Jobs left, remember, didn't he created the Next computer? Remember that? Remember the
Yeah,
Next?
you
yeah.
did.
That was one of the first personal risk computers. From a technological point of view, it was orders of magnitude above the Mac. It didn't get off the ground.
That
So
was a
so
failure,
so
a
so again,
huge failure. I think was it
yeah, it was a major.
for
Yeah.
him.
But it was, I mean, from a spec, again, if you're a tech person at that time, forget the RISC 68,000 chips that were available at the time. They were using true RISC was it. All the supercomputers use RISCs. When Sun Microsystems was out, they were all RISC based systems. I mean, that was the one to have, but nobody even thought about it in a personal computer. RISC was used at universities. When I was at Rutgers, they used them at the universities, or some sort of, or science labs or whatever. Because again, even like rendering, like even when in the early 90s, when gravity, we talked about like Jurassic Park, I think in the last show, you tried to render like a 30-second clip, it would take like 24 hours using a multi-risk processor machine back then. Now it maybe take a couple hours to render a scene. But back then, it was like you set it to render it, go out, have lunch, or come back the next day, it's still going. That's how much, processing speed was required at that time. And again, in multi-risk units. But then they started to kind of, make the risk into chips that can go into computers, and certainly future chips were essentially became risk processors. But I'm just saying, it's never been about the best product. It's never been. It's been about the one that again gets over with the public. It's never been about being the best wrestler. It's about who can get on the mic and who can draw people into the seats, who can generate heat and get people into the building. And that's the same with technology. That's the same with text or the companies that we're that we're talking about. And so again, these are for the, like I said, the guys in the room. I've always been a guy, like I said, I'll hang in a conversation for about 30 minutes, but it's never gonna. We're gonna go to the hour time limit, and then everyone's just gonna have to just it's a draw, because those who are hard in like that, they're never gonna get off their squares when it comes to this stuff.
So
But
I
not
had a
because
video.
not because they're loyal to what they believe is the best.
I
Yeah.
did. Hang on a second. I did a stream back in a while. It was one of my first streams. It was CQ from Pop Culture Warrior, a hardcore Apple guy, versus the actual King Smith, a hardcore Android guy. Man, they got big. I'm not gonna lie. That heat, they got heat pretty. The heat between those two got pretty hot. I'm not gonna lie.
Mm.
But this is before the lawsuit. Now with the lawsuit, I think when Justin is going to win, because when lawsuit they're suing you, it's usually you're ready or just on borrowed time. That's why they're backtracking and fix things right now. I think the market in the next 2 years is going to change dramatically on cell phones.
Mhm.
I know Apple has already said they're working on a foldable. I'm still iffy about foldables. I'm very iffy about them. They look cool, but if you look at the specs at the specs, Z Fold and all the Samsung ones and the other ones, all the specs are like
The
5-6
Z
years
Fold
old.
is Samsung, and
Even Google has one now. Came out last
Google
year.
have one.
But the specs,
Samsung have one.
look at the specs, David. Look at the specs.
I
They're
see
low.
it.
They're 4 or
I
5
know.
years behind because
I
they
know.
cannot fit all that technology in that little case.
I'm not a fan of it. I'm not a fan of the foldable phone, and the reason why I'm not a fan of the foldable phone because one, like you just said, spec wise, it's mid-range. It's not
Now
high
you're being
end.
nice.
I'm not being nice. I'm being honest right here. It's mid-range. It's been
I
that
won't
way.
even give it that. I'll give it low range.
Okay, I'll give you that one. It's low range, but what I don't like, just because it's a new technology, you actually for so much money for it, whereby it cannot compete with the
Bingo.
flagship that's actually bringing you the prop. The flagship for Samsung is the Galaxy Note series, hands down. But what you did not almost hurt your entire fan base. You forced them to accept the fact that you're taking that lineup and add it with the S lineup and call it Ultra. So those who want to enjoy that Note series feel, they had to go out and buy these Galaxy S, or they didn't want to have the S on it, but they have no choice. They do with the Ultra label on it, which is understandable. But the problem is, while there's only four companies that producing foldable phones: Samsung, Pixel, um,
Motorola.
Highway, and Motorola, right?
And plus one.
The OnePlus, or one.
Yeah. So
They're
there's 4 or
doing that
5
right.
phones, 4 companies that make
The
it
four
right now.
five companies are doing that, but
But
they
they're
also
over
know.
$1,800. That's the other issue I have with them.
Yeah, but here's the problem: as more you're trying to perfect the technology of the foldable phone, the more you start to realize you got to work on one of the biggest my pet peeve is seeing the crease in between the folding. That's not gonna go away no time too, unless you have some kind of material that when it open up, you're not gonna see it. That's it done. You can work on the issue on the hinge issue whatsoever, based on a battery issue whatsoever, which is fine. But I hated that, like you said, you was correct. Low end phone with a high end look, it had to be more than the flagship price.
So
I don't
here's a
get it.
price for a Unlock 23 Razor. All right, keep that 23.
Okay.
$500 still.
I'm not surprised.
Man,
It's not
Samsung
American.
Z.
It's not American phone.
Yeah, Samsung Z. Again, this is a year old. Unlocked from Amazon. I'm getting this from. I'll show you guys if you don't believe me. It's $599. The Z Fold, because there's another one, 433. The Samsung Z. They're two kind of. They're the side one and the clamshell one.
Mm.
264. I cannot put myself out there.
Sorry.
Yeah, you're good, brother. Put myself out there to drop $800, $900, all this stuff. OnePlus, $1,400. 14. And it's mid, not even midway, it's low range. Plus one, I don't see right now. And the cameras are horrible. You seen the specs on those cameras? They're
But
from like, the pixels of the camera are so low, and the bezels are so thick. Like,
in
how
a way,
come we went away from that?
the customer don't want to blame. Because let me tell you why the customer don't want to blame. When they design the iPhone to cater to customers, they designed it based on the look and the flair that make it look like it's premium when it's not a premium phone. Because of that premium talking point, the high up in Samsung had to make their Samsung phone almost close to feeling like an iPhone, what I was really pissed off with. I prefer the Note series it was to be a corporate line that have a corporate feel. I ain't trying to look for some fake ass annoying. I never liked it. Because if you were to go on, it's like saying you're marketing the Mercedes Benz car to be more premium than a Lamborghini. When everybody knows Lamborghini is highly premium than Mercedes Benz. But what they were doing is
Mm-hmm.
doing heavy marketing to lie to the public. Mercedes Benz is better than Lamborghini. That's exactly how the iPhone looked like when dealing with the Samsung phone, with their flagship, which is actually the S Ultra, aka the Note. You're going hard, putting a over the head price. That phone does not work that much. Because if you want to base on how much the manufacturer cost of that phone and do the calculation, you're paying a huge amount of money for a phone that is no different than the old Nexus phone, and you get a banned bills over it, and that's highway robbery, if you ask me.
So I was never a big fan of the Nexus phone. I had one. I had issues with it. That's why I didn't like it. It could have been a bad phone, but whatever. Okay, I'll give them that.
But the
But what
Nexus
I was
phone was
gonna say was there. Okay, I haven't seen one foldable phone except one. I mean, keyword I said only one. Then I said, "Ooh, that's cool. That looks nice. The specs are not too bad." But when I digged into it a little more, there was the Pixel that came out last year.
mhm.
The Pixel Fold. When I digged into it, like, why are they using a processor that came out in 2010? Why are they using a battery that only lasts not even half a day?
The way you get people like Market Houston pointing out that out because
I'll give you
Market
an
Houston,
example. Do you guys remember the LG Wing, any chance?
oh, the one that phone that you flipped, it looked like have a wing.
Yes.
That
That
was a cool.
processor equals the same one of these foldables.
I'm not surprised.
And that phone
The
came
LG,
out, when did it come out? I'll tell you right now. It was the early 2000s, I remember. Right about the
it
time when
was,
Iron Man
no,
first
it
came out.
wasn't 2000. It was around it was just a few years before the pandemic.
I remember it was in Iron Man. I remember that much.
Because the problem with that phone, the marketing couldn't help it no matter what because it would look like a new idea. They were trying to put y'all because they were trying to catch up. HTC were going belly down because they couldn't keep up with the competition. And some of the developer was leaving the company to other companies as well. That one of the bigger when they did the LG Wing. I thought that was a cool phone, but as I was looking at the tech, I was like, there's a problem here. You have a cool idea, but implementation not going to do too well.
So here's the thing. Here's the thing, dude. So the LG Wing originally was supposed to be a rip-off idea in a way of the FaceTime. They were going to come out with their own version eventually.
Hmm.
That's why the phone flipped the sideways so you can actually have good video chats with people. But they never got it off the ground.
Due to implement that technology, it is too many conflict because for one, when you flip it to the side, the mechanism behind it not wasn't the issue with the OS to work with that type of thing. They
I
have
agree.
not perfect that. They were rushing that part. I think that one of the biggest issue. They were pushing out phone every. Mr. Ben, tell me if I'm wrong. When you are a company pushing out a new phone every year, you shoot yourself in the foot. You're muted.
That's the issue. That's where, like, Apple, if Apple took a break, put a phone out and just work on one phone every few years, I think they'd come out with a killer product, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's It's hit or miss on that because again, you built into the culture this idea that you get a phone every year. Now, having said that, there's also that risk of being left behind. Like I said, like Tesla, going back to my Tesla example from earlier, they don't come out with new model years, which is another reason why I think they're losing market share. Because so they have 4 models, the SXEY, they call it sexy, right? That's it. Like I remember I went last year and test drove one, and I was at the guy said we don't come out with new trims. There's the only thing that they upgrade is software. That is it.
They were trying to break the culture that other competition have done, like Apple. Apple
Mhm.
created that met you got to put out a new phone every year,
Every
which was
year.
stupid. It was a stupid culture because let's be real, if I'm correct, every phone that came out every year, the mass public have used up to 30% of the features on the phone.
Yeah.
So let you
Nah, no
someone
doubt.
who let you someone you're wide with the money, you keep that phone for a good 2 or 3 years to use almost 80% of the feature on the phone. Not 30% just to get another phone. So when you ask, and trust me, if you were to do a survey, ask every customer who buy a new phone, what you like about a phone, how much of the feature do you are familiar with the phone? You'll be surprised, only up to 30%. They're buying phones just for the sake to compare with their peers. Oh, I got this. Oh, I got that. Okay, what can you do with that?
Right. Now it's
That's one
also a
thing about.
strategy as well. In that again, if you want to, to take out your competition, because again, if you get your competition thing, they have to come out with a phone every year, so they don't improve either. So it's like so again, it becomes a spinning war, right? Who can get to the who can outlast rather than out innovate, who can outlast, who gets the press for the day or for the hour. Like I said, Christmas time, you know exactly where Apple's going to be, pretty much. And that's also when you get the deals. Also, so again, the best time to buy an Apple phone is probably in September because you go into the store and they'll tell you right then and there, you know what, we'll give you again this phone with a plan or whatever because they already know that they're making room for the December drop when the new phones drop out. So like the 15 by September, it'll be hundreds of dollars cheaper than what it is now before the 16, whatever the next phone that comes out.
But right now, there are three tech YouTubers have put the smartphone market in their binding. One of them is Unbox Therapy, the other one is Market Hughes, and the one is Mr. Who the Boss.
Hmm.
Here are the three top-notch tech reviewers whereby companies are hoping that these people get a better review. Market Hughes is even worse right now. He started a
Hmm.
trend whereby every phone based on category, a particular no, any based on category, they get an award. So I didn't know what he did ended up becoming a very, very big deal to the point whereby every phone maker is hoping that Market Hughes test their phone and give his critique. Because at the end of the year, you do the best smartphone of the year, so on and so forth, and you have the award customized. And if you watch his channel, shout out to Market Houston, the way he criticized phone when he did the blind camera test, it proved a point when Mr. Ben was talking about best camera features. Everybody thought iPhone had the best camera features, but when you do the blind camera test, you find out Apple is not what you think it is.
And I agree 100%. But again, what was his name? Marcus Brownwood, whatever his fucking name is.
Michael
Yeah,
Brown, yeah, Michael
he's a
Browning.
big one too, and he
That's his
called
name.
Apple, and he started a fire up people's asses. It was even
No,
funny.
he had to be honest because
But
he
hear
be
me, hear me before he says anything. He says, and I quote: "People reason they don't leave Apple to go to Samsung is not because the phones are complicated. It's an ecosystem. Because I cannot tell you how well this right here, this little gadget works really well.
hmm
I gotta give them credit when it's due. They have done a really good job with it, and it's hard to break it. Samsung is now copying after them because the ecosystem so well. Literally, I remember getting the Samsung 23rd over. I
yeah,
opened it up like, wait a minute, this is like
but the
Apple.
thing about Samsung ecosystem is not similar to
It's not
Apple
nowhere
ecosystem.
near.
Samsung ecosystem is much broader than Apple ecosystem. And the only person that copying Samsung is Highway. When it comes to Samsung, let me do a comparison. And under Apple ecosystem, what are in Apple ecosystem? You have their computers, one, their phone, two, their iPad, three, and iWatch, four, and their headphones, right? Five different categories that's locked into their ecosystem.
Did you add
That's
the
Right.
computer too?
I was saying computer. I mentioned computer. That's going to the desktop to the laptop.
Okay.
All one
I missed that part. I
category.
apologize. Go ahead.
Phone, computer, phone, tablet, headphone, and watch.
Mm-hmm.
Five different categories in the ecosystem. You look at the Samsung ecosystem. There's no game. There's no comparison. You're dealing with computers, one. You're dealing with tablet, two. You're dealing with a phone, three. You're dealing with watch, four. You're the headset, five. You're dealing with the TV, six. DVD player, seven. Your refrigerator, eight. Your stove, nine. Your washer and
Washer.
dryer, 10.
Try
Shall we go?
Doing too
Shall
much.
we go? Can we show? Can we go on?
AI. You forget the AI
The-
processor walks in the
No,
room now
the,
too.
the AI vacuum cleaner, 11. Shall we go on?
I'm not saying that. I'm just
The
saying
AC,
when
12. Shall we go
you
on?
misunderstand what I'm trying to say here for a second. The way it's built, the system is built with Apple versus Samsung. It's smooth. That's all.
No, no, it is smooth.
Integration, yeah.
Thank you.
It's
Thank you. That's what we're looking for. Thank you, Paul.
the integration is smooth, but it is limited. That's the problem. Because the only people that are giving Samsung a run for their money is the one that banned from the US, Huawei. Huawei doing the same type of category Samsung is doing, but going even further. You even have the scooter and the bike. I'm like, what the hold up? How far you want to add to your ecosystem? Like, how far you want to go? They add cars. Some cars had the Apple ecosystem, while other cars had the Android/Samsung ecosystem.
Okay, I can speak for my car. I have a pretty newer car. So when it comes to CarPlay versus Android Auto, they're similar but different, if that makes sense. So I don't know because I was so used to of Apple Play and it was more comfortable for me.
hmm
But things that were like they're like reverse. So it threw me the fuck off. What? But if you look around my house, literally, I can move the camera. I'll show you. I have Google cameras all over the house. I got Google doorbells. The only thing I don't have Google, it's my little bitch over here, Alexa. Don't you dare start talking to me. But
Don't worry, they'll give us upgrade.
Although what you say is interesting that Apple never went into the sort of the Wi-Fi integration, integrating of home
yeah, they did.
And that's the problem.
They did a
environment,
HomePod.
yeah.
They did a HomePod for a while. It just failed, and then now they're trying to revive it again.
The reason why it failed is due to develop from other products. They
Siri.
realize they can't incorporate their stuff under quote unquote Siri issue. But on Samsung/Google, that's taking the airway for a smart home.
Okay,
Samsung
let me throw a monkey wrench here for a second for the HomePods thing for a second. Okay, we know a series failed dramatically. Let me get both of you guys' opinion. If you had to pick Amazon versus Google, which one you go for? Go.
Google.
Paul?
I would have to say Google, yeah.
You have Google at home?
I don't have it on my home for a reason, but I will pick Google if I want.
I have Google Wi-Fi, so most of my network is running through it, and obviously I use Google for work, the Chrome and all my bookmarks and everything, whether it be on my phone or work or whatever. So everything's kind of integrated. Everything's kind of integrated there. Purchasing, all security stuff. So yeah, definitely on the software end. Like I said, Wi-Fi, and I got the Google, the Nest, the temperature. I changed that guy, and I cut like 25% off my utility bill, just switching to the Google thermometer over. And I had just gotten I got the central AC. I got the whole thing replaced like 3-4 years ago, and they put a what's the I forget the brand. What's the it's like a popular brand for like the thermostats, the digital thermostats. But again,
Nest.
so I had that for about a year. Then I switched to Google, and that's when I really saw the big rate drop.
So personally, I everything okay before COVID, before the iPhone 12 Pro came out.
Honeywell, that's it. Honeywell.
Yeah,
I had a
Okay.
Honeywell.
Honeywell thermometer. Yeah.
So before the 12 Pro Max came out, iPhone, I was a hardcore Google and Samsung guy. I mean, I had everything. I mean, my passwords are still saved in Google, my Chrome, everything. I even had a tablet, the Nexus, if you remember, guys, that tablet. That's how core I was. The only
Mm.
thing I didn't have was, so I went into Apple, and I'm still very hardcore a Google guy. All my passwords still, everything around the house, stuff like that.
Hmm.
Again, it's the ecosystem of the watch. That's what. If it wasn't for the watch, I'll be straight up with you guys. If it wasn't for the watch, I would have been back with Samsung already.
Mm.
I got
Simple.
a Samsung Watch and they equal to with the phone, and
And the second thing I would say probably is also almost 99.9% of people I know have iPhones, so iMessage comes in really good handy.
Yeah.
But that's going to
Especially if you want,
change.
you want live chat. You want live chat. You want to have a virtual, the
hmm
the call with everybody on it, the group
So
texting. Yeah.
there is a loop around that. If you want to deal with it, you can go to Google Meet if you want to the FaceTime. That's one. Now, when it comes down to the iMessage, RCA's get launched on all phones by end of this year. It's a law passed through. They don't have a choice. So RCA is getting inputted now. So the me be able to talk to, say me and David Farrar. So you have what a Samsung, right, David?
hmm
So
I do.
that barrier is not going to be there anymore. It's going to go by. The only barrier you're going to have is you're going blue bubble and green bubble. That's the only difference. I don't give a shit about that, to be honest with you.
But the thing is, Samsung have learned to cooperate with the other ecosystem, whereby the two ecosystems that's mostly popular, like you say, Google, Amazon, Alexa, and they want to call Smart View. That's on the Samsung. Samsung like to incorporate so many devices and then some over. That's why I'm saying when it comes to ecosystem, yes, the transition on the Apple ecosystem is fluent and efficient, but it's highly limited. When it comes to doing smart home, majority of home are using mostly Amazon. Number one. Number two, it's either between no correction. Majority of home using Google. Second is either Amazon or SmartView from Samsung phone because the ecosystem have a long list of other application or appliance they can incorporate and control over the phone. So I have a friend of mine who's doing that in the crib. He said, Google, put on the light. Google, turn on the TV. Google, put on the toaster. I was like, I'm not doing that yet because my choice will come to doing a smart home. I have a, I'm very anal about Wi-Fi, routers, setup, and everything. 'Cause to me, right now, after what I saw recently yesterday, I will have to rethink my choice of router because there's an issue with the Asus. 'Cause at one point, I was trying to go for the Asus routers.
Mm.
I wanted to have that because it is very, the level of function with the Asus router and function in the household is top notch. Don't get me wrong. But
Hmm.
right now, I'm now start questioning how they take care of their own products. So I will have to reevaluate in case if I can't trust Asus for certain hardware for their routers, I gotta go to somebody else who is their rival who can do the job properly because it comes to security whatsoever. For a smart home, that is one thing for sure. Because we hear it before in the past when people set up their smart home security, they had some simple passwords easy for them to hack that people can hack into their doorbells, stuff like that, and just link into the
Yeah,
cameras.
Ring. Amazon products had a huge hacking system for a long time. That's why I went with
Yeah.
next with Google instead.
Now you get what I'm
Yeah.
coming from.
So the only thing I have issue with Google, another thing I had issue with them right now, they announced the first year AI is going to be launched is going to be free for 1 year only. After that, you're going to have to pay a fee, a service fee to use the AI system on the Samsungs.
I know. The Phantom AI thing, when I heard about that, I was like, I'm not sure if I want to use the AI for anything. If I'm going to use the AI for 1 year for you and pay after, then you can keep it. I don't need it. Because here's the problem consumer are smart. If they feel like what you're putting out is not needed, you will notice it based on the system AI or the system record about people not using the algorithm that much or using the AI that much. And when you do that, it will force you to change. Let's be real. They want to give it a Bixby because not many people using Bixby. Bixby is annoying, don't get me wrong, but they have Bixby to compete with Series. We're kind of like pointless.
I thought
Now
it
that
was
we play,
Google.
no, Samsung got Bixby.
Yeah, I know that. I thought the guy Big C compete against Google more than anything.
No, Big T cannot compete with Google as much as they want to, because Big T had its own issues. Remember, Central was doing Big T, they were doing it with their Xenon chip, and I realized the Xenon chip is not as good as the Qualcomm chip,
Hmm.
because going forward, they had no trouble to do embedded collaboration with Qualcomm. Qualcomm processor chip does way better than the Samsung Xenon chip on a
Yeah,
global
Samsung
scale.
using the drag snap instead, right?
Snapdragon, yeah.
That's what I thought so. That's a good chip.
So
You can't go wrong with that.
the
Hmm.
Qualcomm Snapdragon chip are considered to be the best chip to use in mobile phone, hand down, on Android. The Samsung Xenon chip is not doing too well. That means they're rushing. They're not taking the time to perfect it. That's the problem. Snapdragon already perfected technology on there and all doing it adding more increment over the period of time. Samsung haven't perfected their own chip yet. They're rushing. This is why I say the present leader has to step down, have to find out to do it better. Whoever he's doing is not helping. That's where I look at it right now.
Oh, I agree. I agree 100% what you're saying. Everything. The only pushback I got, I think, give it another year or two when Google comes out with their better chips. You can go see Google is and they keep it affordable. That's one thing I like about Google. Their top line phone, except the foldable. Let's skip that. That's a whole different department. The regular Pro series is fucking $800 only versus almost $1,500-$1,600.
But to me, Pixel is nothing more than a,
People wait.
how I put it. No,
Paperweight.
Pixel is the reincarnation of the Nexus, because Nexus have been their product for the longest. And they learn all the mistake for the Nexus. And you know what? We go start off fresh. We learn from our mistakes. We no longer be Nexus. We're big Pixel. Pixel have been that thing that I've been using to establish themselves under this is how the phone's supposed to be.
Okay, I'll keep that. I'll let you slide on that one. I'll keep that one because my pushback right now is like I said, it's chip. Because give it a year or two, definitely after the lawsuit, you're going to see things are. We're going to revisit this again.
Oh,
I'm
we're
gonna
gonna
pull
revisit
you
it.
by your little
Oh,
skunk tail hair, and,
whatever. I call maturity, okay?
have you seen my fucking hair, asshole?
Yeah, I see your hair. All I gotta do is take your hair and put them into bed and you'll look different.
You're a dick. You're a fucking dick.
You, but the man will look like a spokesman all of a sudden. He was like, okay, how
My
you doing?
gosh.
Anyway, back to the subject I was saying. But if you wait a year or two definitely after this lawsuit situation first, I think the lawsuit is going to change the whole market. But let's forget the lawsuit for a minute. I feel the chip is coming. The new chip is coming. Every year, those Pixel phones are getting better and better and better. But they're not changing the price. That's the thing I like about it. They keep it around $800 so people can afford it.
That's the best way to beat the market.
What,
People
eight
can't
hundred
afford it.
dollars so people can afford it?
Compared to the flagship phone that are out there,
Have you seen
What,
the
top phone
numbers?
with like 512 gig or whatever? What are you talking about? 1100,
no,
1200?
the flagship phone in most competition are either 1200 or 1300 or 1400, depending on what they give
But most of
themselves.
that's depending on the size of your drive, right? If you go to a
Bingo,
terabyte, yeah.
bingo.
I'm just saying but I'm saying just the tech in the phone itself. Entry level is going to be around 800 might be low end, but typically 900 to $1,000. And then
And,
everything else is just how much RAM you want or space that you want.
and here's the thing though, Marquis from New Jersey, no, like
Okay, hang on one second. So a iPhone refurbished right now for the top memory maxed out refurbished. Keep that in mind, guys. It's about $1,200, but it's used. Keep that in mind. So a Samsung. Now, give me 1 second to get that up. It's about 1,200 not refurbished, and that is with what memory? Hang on 1 second. Let me get this open. For the 500, it's about 1,200. Now with the Google, and that's where everything changes a little bit. Like I said, they keep it affordable. The Pixel 8 Pro for the max memory is right under 1,000. Just under 1,000.
Refurbished.
No, brand new. Brand new. The only one I did refurbished was the iPhone because I couldn't find it on Amazon.
Right, but when you said the iPhone, I mean the prices were essentially the same. I mean you don't see a significant price drop off between a new and refurbished.
No, the new one is 1,500 max memory.
Oh, max memory is 1,500. Okay, good.
Yes.
Now is that also for the 6? I mean the 6.7, the Pro Max or the Pro?
Yeah, the Pro Max I was looking at.
Pro Max. So we talk,
Yes.
and that's that to me that's another thing. How many folks are really going with, again, for the masses? The masses aren't going for the Pro.
Believe it or not, it's sold out right now.
Unreal. I mean, because that was the thing, especially with those notes, those Galaxy Notes you guys were talking about earlier. They were so mad you can't even carry it in your pocket.
It
was like literally, it was like like you said, Black David early. It was like a hybrid between a phone and a tablet. They were huge.
And
for me personally, hang on there. Me personally, I like a big phone. I prefer that. That's my preference. There's nothing wrong with that. The tablet ones, the foldable, if it was more proof the technology was working perfectly, I'll probably go with a foldable because I like big phones. This is why I have a Pro Max because I like big phones.
But here's the thing.
Go ahead,
when they made this Samsung Galaxy Note, they gave the name called the Phablet. LG were trying to compete with them. Motorola were trying to compete with them because they realized Samsung figured out something that will work for the corporate sector, whereby the phablet phone was designed to be more of a professional phone with better security. Would have multiple functions, not just only for a smartphone, but also for a tablet. It come with a stylus. The only phone that's doing the same thing that Samsung is doing is actually Motorola that have its own stylus for this phone as well that's built in. Every other phone, you have to purchase the style to go along with it. So my thing was, which was really stupid to all these marketers, the word phablet, it was not meant to be a phone that you put in your pocket. It was a phablet. You think anyone put a tablet in their pocket? No, let's
but there was a move where everyone was making the biggest, baddest phone.
It was.
To
But the thing is, the way the phone was designed, it was designed to eliminate. You and I both seen it on the corporate sector. How many executives you know that have a laptop, a tablet, and a phone, or constantly traveling, all type of gadget in their backpack, and they want to reduce the load of it because if they can't use the laptop, they want to use the tablet. When you use the tablet, use the phone. But why not have something with the hybrid of both? Samsung did that to eliminate people carrying two devices like a phone and a tablet. That's what it was designed for. Yes, it was big. It wasn't meant to be holding one hand, like you have big hand like mine, which was fine.
No comment.
And hey, women like big hands. Either way,
man like big hands. You mean?
All right, stop it. You can stop it.
You sound like my father now.
You can stop it.
We need that right now on that phone. But let's be real. The way I look at it, Samsung was going back to the good old days because the phone was just like that before it didn't make it. It also had a stylus back then where you could do all your right doing and whatsoever. It was meant to help the corporate people who want to eliminate the amount of device they have in their hand, but also very functional. That's the great thing about it. But the thing was bad about it, if you're trying to make a phone to probably be a hybrid for both phone and a tablet fit in your palm of your hand, that was the dumbest idea ever. You may increase the size, you can increase the size, but to a limit to how far you will go with it. I don't mind carrying a carrying case on the side of my waist to hold that phone. It wasn't no big deal to me because I got the phone for the purpose of one, if I gotta sign my contract, I gotta sign thing, I gotta style it in the phone, I could just do signing or do it. If I had to do a meeting or I do it has so much functionality in the phone that got from the tablet side of things that incorporate onto the phone side of things. That would make the phone so highly functional. But my pet peeve with this, why are you trying to make a phone that's supposed to replace you having a tablet and a phone to fit your pocket? If you can put a tablet in your pocket, then you do that. Otherwise, stop being stupid.
You mean the foldables right now?
That's what they're doing now with foldable because they realize, okay, we're gonna make a foldable that could turn into a tablet when you need it. Yeah, but
here's the thing.
But like you said, the technology is low. It's low end. It's not high end. It's behind the S Ultra.
It's not there. The thing line's not there right now. Let me find that guy I was looking at earlier today. I'm trying to
Okay,
find his name.
are you on Amazon? I look on Amazon, and I was like, the Motorola G Stylus. This is the 2021 phone that had a 2-day battery. It have its own that was still competing with Samsung on the low end of things. People would buy this phone. To be honest with you,
Which one? Samsung?
Motorola had a phone that looked like a bootleg version of this Note, but it's not. But it was a cheaper version, which is more affordable for people to use. But it didn't have the compatible like Samsung had. They called the Moto G Stylus from Motorola.
Mhm.
They got a 2021, 2022, 2023 version of that. And people understood that the functionality of that was needed. So if I have my way, I don't mind my phone getting a little bigger than what it is.
So hang
At
on one
least I
second
know.
before you move on too forward. This guy named Floss, he does very, very real reviews. He pays for his own money. He's a big YouTuber. He's like over 600 or something K followers. But the point I was trying to bring him into this is when he comes down to his reviews, he's the only one I found. He breaks it down to like you're stupid pretty much. Because he says, listen, what is the difference between the Google Pixel 7 and the 8? Nothing right now. So why upgrade? If you want to be the best and the greatest, I know a guy I used to work with. He had to have a new iPhone every year.
Mm-hmm.
I go,
Stupid.
why?
Stupid.
There's no reason.
Again, it's the pull, but it's the pull, right? And I think that's just the how the culture is. Anyway, when the new Jordans drop, when the new LeBrons drop, when the new whatever drops,
That
I
was
mean,
worse.
it's just
That
there's
was
definitely built in the culture to have something new, something to have the freshest, the nicest, the
agree.
newest, stand one
Oh.
step above.
that was worse.
Again,
That
and
was
that's
worse.
been but that's been but again, that's the consumerism in the culture, just to stay one step ahead of the game. I mean, because again, you're not gonna very few people can have the newest car every year, right? So if I can't have the nicest car or even the nicest girl every year, I can have the
Your
nicest
wife's
phone.
gonna kill you.
I can have the nicest phone every year.
Mr. Bennett, I don't have space in my apartment for you to let you know. I don't know about Gourmet Review.
I said
Alex,
the way some people
I'm just
go
playing
at
with
it.
you.
I didn't say me. I said not everybody has. So
I'm just
I'm in
playing.
no trouble. I'm in no trouble whatsoever. I like things.
yeah.
Look, I like things to last. Okay,
There you go.
I like things that last. So, but again, that's just a mindset that is built in. I mean, and again, you guys, we know. I mean, guys who go to Tech Expo every year, the big Vegas show that's in Vegas. I don't know if you ever been there, David.
I wish I could get a chance, but I watch it through YouTube. I've seen that
That's
one.
like one of those. If you're into tech, if
the
you don't get to the
CES.
Tech Expo in Vegas, you're missing something. And that's like a mecca for anybody who's hardcore tech person. That's like going to the
it's the holy grail of tech.
What's that?
The holy grail of tech.
No, but what's the thing in the Javits every year? What's that? The Comic-Con.
Comic-Con, yeah.
That's like the Comic-Con for tech is
that's
that
why I said
Vegas.
the holy grail of tech.
It calls CES.
Yeah.
It calls CES. CES. That's
Actually, the bigger one for Comic-Con is down in San Francisco. That's the really holy grail of Comic-Con.
Well, he's
But I can never afford that, so don't none of you guys think about it.
It calls CES. Every year they have some of the
CES,
best tech
yeah,
out.
that's right.
And the thing I hate about it, the biggest draw of that particular show over there is always been the TV. Who had the best TV out there? What the best TV going to be out there? Now you have TV that's almost 101 inch. Okay, 101 inches. Where do I have to spend?
Have you seen my TV?
Like he's got an 85. Don't be surprised in a few years he may get to 100.
No,
if he sees a sale, he's going to get it.
85 was my limit out there I would go to. But now you have like my TED talk about getting 101 inch. I'm like, dude, enough is enough. I don't mind having a big
why not
TV.
just get here's the thing with TVs. Someone made this point earlier. Why not just get a very high-end projector?
There you go. Good point.
Okay, so projector, I have a couple things on that. One, I don't have the room for it because you need to be so far away from the TV. That's thing. One. Two, my best friend had a projector, CQ, and he ended up selling it because he never used it. He uses his 80-inch instead. That's his go-to. So,
And three, compatibility with game console. That was another issue.
oh, my PS5 will work fine with my projector I was looking at.
Ah, okay.
But it's again the money I'm going to pay on a projector. I get more quality, and if the light comes in, you're not going to see it as well. There's a lot of
Well, again,
downfall of the
if you got,
projector.
that's why you got to get a high end one. The higher end, the 4K, the real high ones
That's
with
what
the
I was
high
looking at.
lumens, it could be bright as day, and you'll still see the screen. That's
Yeah,
what I'm
actually,
saying.
they
That's
make
what you're
something
paying the
else.
difference for. If a room is dark, you can get away with like a 600 DPI, whatever, and
Yeah,
get away with it.
Yes,
But if
that's
you
they
want the
fact.
make
highest in any light condition, you're gonna need to get you're gonna need to get one of those high end, a couple $1,000. But again, would you rather pay that than pay for a 100-inch TV, like a $10,000 TV? Would you rather do that or get a projector?
But here
the
my
TV was
issue with
cheaper.
it.
I paid cheaper for the cheaper was the TV than the projector. But I was also looking into at a time. It's called laser TV, and it's not a TV. It's a laser projector that goes up versus down,
Okay,
and it's cool technology, but very experimental still.
right.
But you're looking at 9 to 10 grand on a sale if you're lucky.
Oh no, thank you. No, thank you. But
So,
here's the problem
but
right
anyway,
now.
guys, we're at top of the hour.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I'll let you guys have your final thoughts. Let me adjust you guys for one quick second. Let's have Paul go first.
All right.
Smile.
Well, again, just based on the original topic of the show, I mean, obviously, texting has certainly changed our world. I don't think we kind of veered into talking about different types of tech and whatnot, but the impact of texting and what it's done to communication, good and bad. I mean, certainly it's changed the way we communicate. Some people would again argue for the worst, especially when it comes into when you're going to dinner and you see everybody texting on their phones, or even at dinner, they'd rather text each other rather than communicate. So that I think has certainly been somewhat damaging to us, and maybe in an upcoming show we can talk about what the ramifications of this is. I don't think it's certainly going anywhere, certainly anytime soon, because I think certainly people do appreciate, I think, the privacy oftentimes that texting gives. And so that certainly is something that is going to remain with us. I was able to master texting relatively quickly because, again, especially when when we talk about that sliding keyboard, and I was already a good typist anyway. I was very familiar with WYSIWYG keyboard layouts. So for me, it was pretty natural. My two thumbs, I got pretty good at texting, and that's another. It really made. I was, even though I started late, I was able to catch up through through it because of that WYSIWYG display. Because I took typing in high school, and I was pretty good at typing in college as well. I used to type term papers for people. That was sort of like my side hustle. So yeah, I mean, it's been it's definitely changed. It's definitely changed things again for the better or for the worse. I think that's really the discussion, because we were talking about on the other show, we were talking about dating or just going up, like, got shout out to our pain, but he's still talking about, yeah, man, if you're a man, you just need to go up to a woman and say hello. And people are just definitely afraid to do that. It is easier to drop something in someone's DM than go up to somebody and say hello to them. Hi, how you doing? My name is so and so. What's your name? People are just definitely afraid to do that. And so I think on that end, in terms of human interaction, emotional intelligence, you can certainly make the case that this platform has lessened that ability, and people are living a lot more virtually than what we need to be. And certainly, I came along maybe just before it got to the point where it certainly for my kids, they were still able to have a conversation as well as be on the text. If I had kids today, I don't know how I would monitor it. I don't know, David, how you deal with your kids as far as when there's time to text, when they can have it, or how do you monitor? When do you monitor their activity or whatever? But I could definitely see being a challenge today, having kids, and how do you get them to still be able to be engaged and have active communication with you without always being on the phone, always texting or doing whatever. So those are discussions that maybe we can take on in it, but that's a much more serious topic, I think, more so than the Hangout, because again, this is supposed to be, we're kind of reminiscing about old school
Hangout. We're just hanging out
technologies
and
and
having
things that
fun.
yeah. So
Yeah.
that's a societal topic that
That
we
is
can
a Wednesday topic for the Sparkers.
exactly.
And if you
So
like, I'll let you host that one if you like.
Oh,
yeah. I mean, I think that would be
Yeah.
certainly an engaging conversation. It's like, what is this ultimately, done to humanity? Because it's not just, like I said, it's just not just here. It's all over. It's the
I
fact that
totally
you can't
agree.
even have the phone away, regardless of where you're at. It's such a part of us. The cell phone as a device. It's literally becoming, who knows in the
it
future.
is much bigger than
They
what you
may they
think.
may
It
they
is
may
much
program
bigger.
into us at birth. We'll be walking cell phones.
I
We'll
don't know if
be
you remember that
I don't
episode
know.
of Futurama. They used to put the iPhone or iWatch or it called it right in your eyeball.
Well, I know. Don't they have like the eyeglasses that
Yeah,
have the?
The
that's another conversation. But
Apple those things.
let's not forget, tech to be here longer. You used to have Messenger. We went from Yahoo Messenger to MSN Messenger to
AOL.
Mhm.
AOL Messenger. That was
All right,
texting too,
Yeah,
you know.
all right.
yeah,
Let me get you up. You have your final thoughts
yeah.
because I know
Okay, I'm
you have a
good.
lot to
I'm
say,
good.
like always.
No, I no. This is a great conversation. I know it's not gonna be one show to do with the texting thing because this is much bigger than what you think it is. Like Mr. Bennett said, because texting came from the messenger era. Where you have the AOL Messenger, the Yahoo Messenger, the MSN Messenger. These things was out there until the phone company took that advantage and said, let's have it on the phone and do it much easier. But texting really did destroy this society as it is because, like the Bennett just said, our Asian father, our parent would say, why don't you walk up to a lady and talk to them? Now, uh, before I just send you a Yahoo Messenger, do you like me? With the emoji, with a smiley. Now until you jump into your DM. Now, what's with your Snapchat? Now, what's with your TikTok? It's like there are so many different forms of texting that evolve over the many years. This is a topic you should have on Talk too. They have another big brother, Uncle Ricky, because he's the IT specialist. I'm sure he had a lot to talk about the
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
texting. Yeah, he
Yeah,
mentioned that a
yeah.
lot of time. There's a
I
bunch
should
of
have
us
invited
here
him on the show next time.
because the way you look at Texas right now, you really got to pinpoint where did it first started off first. Was it from the phone or from the app on the computer? Because I remember you used to have a messenger war before the texting war came to play with between Yahoo, MSN, and AOL. So this is something you got to look at each era and which group was being affected by it first. Because they were the thing that been going on for now, even present time right now. You see a lot of YouTubers are going back and forth snitching on people, bringing out what? The text, aka the receipt, based on what is going on. But this is a unique part of our culture that's not going to go nowhere no time soon. Because if I were to say you were texting before back in the good old day when you have the bird and the little pigeon, I can't call that one texting. I call it another word.
Mhm.
You say a message on the eagle.
All right, I think you had enough time. It's my turn to be up here. All right, now the host is talking. Uh, seriously. All right, guys, seriously. Are you Apple, Android, or whatever? This is a deep history. I'm not a tech guy. I'm not an IT guy, but I am a tech guy. Obviously, all this magical stuff I do. But this isn't. I'm gonna get some more guys in here. I want to get a big conversation going on. The problem is it's hard to get people on here sometimes. So if you're an IT guy, you want to talk, hit me up. Schedule update. So I got the next 2 weeks scheduled out. About time, right? So
Yeah.
tomorrow is we're talking about on the gray area, me and Paul, college. Difference between American and Greek. That should be
Oh
another
Lord.
interesting conversation. So on where are we? Now on Wednesday, this Wednesday, we are talking. The question is of the day is the question of why we work hard. Good question. Next Saturday, Paul, you ready for this one? You're gonna like this one.
Okay.
Jake Logan versus Mike Tyson. Who would be the matchup?
Jake Paul. It's Jake and Logan Paul. So it's Jake
hold
Paul.
it for next week. Hold your comments next week.
Okay.
I was trying to get a professional boxer on here. I had a buddy of mine who actually fought professionally and everything that He wasn't in the movie Creed and everything, but he's out of the country and he couldn't make it, unfortunately.
Get
And
Mandrell.
next Wednesday.
Yeah, Mandrell for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna get him. Don't worry.
That Mandrell, the whole movie's over. That's enough earthquake.
And next, not this one's coming out, the Wednesday the 22nd. I already talked to JT. We are going to be doing collab of if the music, the rap impact of rap music on our society. He's getting warmed up on that one. So that's gonna be a co-streaming on that. So you're gonna have fun with that one, by the way, David.
You gotta be Uncle Rick on that one too. You gotta be the Godfather because he know rap too. But this would be a deep conversation.
Yeah,
So,
I've been meaning to email BMU. I have not emailed him about that yet. I'm gonna or text
no,
him. I'm
get
gonna-
BMU because he's more like a historian. But we want to see based on which side who the pro and con because this is not no simple topic when it comes to music. Because
Totally
as parent right now, we got to safeguard our kids from these type of they be just like the kryptonite of society.
Totally agree. So that will be the update at the moment. Oh, and next Sunday is Q&A on the gray area. So you guys ask questions. Here's your time, free for all. So except that, again, I can't do it this way. I got to do it the other way. There we go. He is Mr. Paul, Black David, Grim Reviews, aka the Ghost of Spar. As always, stay fresh, stay safe, and I'll see you guys next time.
Take care, guys. Have a great weekend.